Hello there, my name's Neil David and I'm the host of Eurograps Express, the podcast exclusively dedicated to the wrestling of Europe. If it's wrestling and it happens in Europe and it's good, we talk about it. Whether it's Rev Pro, Progress, WXW, Passion Pro, Pro Wrestling Chaos, Pro Wrestling North, we don't care, we talk about them all. If it's good and it's exciting, I want to share it with you. We're on the Voices of Wrestling Podcasting Network. Check us out on the feed. Check us out on Twitter at EuroGrapsEXP. And join us for chat about European wrestling and a little bit of chat about cheese. Hopefully see you there.
This podcast is a member of the Voices of Wrestling Podcasting Network. Visit voicesofwrestling.com to hear the rest of our great podcasts, as well as show reviews, columns, opinions, and updates across the world of wrestling.
What do you guys want to talk about?
You are listening to the Flagship Podcast with your hosts, Joe Lanza.
I mean, I don't know how many times I have to prove my perfectly honed instincts. I mean, it's just time after time, I'm so right.
Rich Crage.
It's going to sound really gatekeepy, but if this is your match of the year, you need to watch more wrestling. I mean, seriously, when it was over, I was like, the people that think this is like one of the... Like, I got some wrestling to show these people.
And we are live on the Flagship Podcast. I am Rich. He is Joe. Joe, what's happening? How are you?
I am fine. I am cracking open. You hear that?
That's a good sounding. It's a good sounding Coke Z.
Oh, excuse me, sir. You hear that pour?
Oh, I thought you were just out of a can guy.
Nah, I'm pouring it because I accidentally grabbed the full power Coke on the way out of the
Coke
store.
Heavy. Uh-oh. So you're doing a Coke Heavy this week.
I got a little full power Coke, and let me tell you, when you haven't had it in a while, it's fucking disgusting. So what you have to do, I don't know how the hell, now it's been many years, maybe decades, in fact, that I've ever drank this shit. It's just pure sludge, pure sugar going down your throat. I don't know how the hell I ever did it. I was never a big Coke guy anyway. I was never a big Coke guy until Coke Zero.
Always felt too syrupy, and I'm not a Coke Z guy, but always, even as a kid, felt syrupy. Like because I don't drink any of the cola. I don't drink any colas. I don't really drink much soda other than rich drinks when I drink Mountain Dews for money. Yeah. I just do it as a sideshow at this point. But even as a kid,
they're not recreational beverages.
No. Very, very, very rarely these days. But even as a kid, when I used to drink a lot of colas, like I never liked Coke because it just felt so syrupy, and it was like, I don't know. I never quite vibed with it. I would always go with the Pepsi, or I would go with like store brand colas. Like I always preferred, because it's just so heavy and so syrupy and so and that's hung on in my life. Like every so often I'll do a Diet Coke. I don't mind a Diet Coke. But yeah, I can't do the zero sugar stuff because it has some stuff in it that I'm allergic to. So it's a bit of a shame. But that's fine. That's all right. It's another reason I stopped drinking soda too, because it all has shit that makes me sick. So it's just good. I guess that's a positive that I don't have to drink it.
How about 39 grams of sugar?
Oh,
how about that? My God, 78% of your daily allowance. Is sugar.
Yeah. Right. Which you were getting. I mean, no American struggles to meet their sugar demand in a single day. You know what I mean? Just our normal food, everything you eat is just fucking chock full of sugar. So, even your salty stuff is chock full of sugar and stuff. 78% from one can of soda is wild.
One can, So I tried doing it right out of the can, and that's actually how I figured out I grabbed the wrong box. The boxes are very similar. You got to be careful, but too much. But what you got to do is you got to get a glass, fill it up with some ice, and you got to get a nice tall icy glass of this and then it's okay. But straight out of the can, I can't. It was brutal after not having it for so long. So that's why I'm pouring it into.
So is this just ice, or are you throwing a little bit of water in there? You're throwing like a little
just the ice.
Okay,
and then the ice melts. And,
yeah, okay. I see.
I'm
Because some guys will do that to
I
make
can't-
their mixed drinks less strong. Like if you're pouring some bourbon or whatever, sometimes people will do bourbon and water, which is ridiculous. Just drink the bourbon, but they'll water it down with a little bit of water and then have which people do that with wine too. It seems odd. I wasn't sure if you were doing that with your Coke heavies there.
I can't believe I'm too much of a pussy to just drink a Coke. It's unbelievable. I gotta like gimmick it up to drink this, but that's what I've become.
That's adulthood. Welcome to adulthood.
Coke Zeros.
Yeah,
with the Coke Zeros. I had that the Dr. Pepper creamy coconut zero.
Excuse me? Is this
Yes.
out of a freestyle or is this available for the world?
No, this is a 12-pack, sir.
Interesting. Okay. I can't do the zeros. It sounds good though, but I cannot.
They have it full power.
Oh,
if
we
you
got full power. I can do full power
but
Dr. Pep. I can do full power Dr. Pep. That's no problem.
Dr. Pepper creamy coconut.
I'm listening.
I opted for the zero, and I got to tell you, it was fucking delicious. And I will be getting more because not only do you get that coconut flavor, right? The coconut hits you right off the top when you take a sip. And then, like, you get the Dr. Pepper.
Oh, you get both.
aftertaste.
A little bit of A, a little bit of B. I like it. Okay.
Right. So it's not like at first I'm like, oh, this is just going to be a coconut. So wait a minute. There's the Dr. P. That's in there too.
Those are the 23 flavors. There they are.
Right.
I got them.
That's it. So that was that case got destroyed in a matter of days by me and TLB. So I will because you don't know what it's going to be like. So you can't buy too many of them.
Yeah, well, I get that problem with the Mountain Dews. I buy the 12 packs for the review because if you're not listening to Rich Drinks on flagshippatreon.com, anytime there is a themed fun Mountain Dew flavor that comes out, I drink it and review it and talk about the history and the lore behind the different flavors of Mountain Dew or whatever. And I have always said, and I a couple times I've said, look, I can't get it any other way, so I have to do it. And I think you and I have talked about this too. Certain sodas are just better in cans. And I will go to my grave saying Mountain Dew is superior in a can. Mountain Dew should be drunk in a can. It's not the same out of a bottle. It's not the same out of a tap. Can is the preferred way to do it. And that's not the same.
Correct.
Like Coke out of a fountain is very good. Coke out of a can, probably the superior way to drink Coke. Coke out of a bottle, I don't know. I don't love it. I think I'm just anti-bottle. I mean, Dr. Pepper, I think, holds up pretty well. I still think can's better, though. I think at this point in my life, I've just decided that the can is the superior method of drinking soda.
There's something about the can. It's colder. I
yeah,
don't know
it's colder. It's colder. It has its flavor a little bit better. And it feels like you don't have to... It with the 20 ounce, it's like, you drink like 10 of the ounces and you're like, I'm kind of good. I don't really want any more of this. And you still have half this fucking thing left. And now it's getting warm and the fizz is gone. And now you're just drinking. Yeah, so that sucks. But I always have to buy these 12 packs of Mountain Dews. But then sometimes these flavors suck. You know what I mean? Sometimes these flavors, I'm like, that flavor's terrible. Like I just reviewed one not that long ago and I absolutely hated it. And now I got 11 cans of this motherfucker that I have to like, when friends come over, I'm like, hey, there you go. Hey, how's it going? Or I'll bring them with me to friends' houses and be like, hey, there's some goofy new Mountain Dew flavor. You guys want to try it? Here, have 6. It's like, I got to get rid of these things. I don't want them in my house. I don't need 11 cans of a soda I don't want. So yeah, that is a risk with the Dr. Pepper coconut zero, whatever the fuck the thing was called, that if it sucked, you were stuck with 11 of them, or 10 at least, if maybe you could pawn one off on TLB, and then after that you're kind of on your own.
I'm trying to find the Mountain Dew that I occasionally buy in the zero form. Let me see if I can find it, because you're obviously familiar with all of them.
Yes, I can help you there.
It's the Spark. That's the
Mountain Dew
one
Spark. I don't know if I loved Spark. I think Spark was okay. That's like it's kind of a lemonade-y. It's kind of like a raspberry lemonade-y flavor. Yeah, I didn't love it. I'm not a lemonade guy though. I think that's what I said in the review. Is I'm not a big lemonade dude. And if I want lemonade, I'll just go drink lemonade, but I really don't want it that much.
Yeah, the Spark Zero.
Okay.
Kids enjoy that too. So
I think that's the can. Actually, I think I got a Spark Zero, and that's when I realized that I was allergic to the zero sugar stuff, because it took a while for me I kept having them, and I kept getting these weird headaches and feeling strange, and then finally it was that Spark Zero. I drank it, and I felt horrible afterwards. I felt like just absolutely awful, and I looked this up, and they're like, yeah, some people have allergies to, because it's like stevia that I think I'm allergic to, or it's one of the other fake sugars that I'm allergic to. So I ended up finding out about that. But there you go.
Well, the thing about the Mountain Dews is none of them taste like Mountain Dew. They're all like they all, to me, they just all taste like some new soda concoction, and they throw the Mountain Dew name on it.
Most times, yeah.
And some of them, I'm sorry, I'm not doing Mountain Dew Baja Laguna. I'm just not.
That one's good.
Okay?
Laguna lemonade.
I'm just not doing it. But yeah, so with the creamy coconut Dr. Pepper, you get that Dr. Pepper flavor on the back end, and it so that will be purchased again.
I'm excited.
I'm
excited.
They still have it.
Yeah, I'm excited because one of the great things about Dr. Pepper is that, and real Dr. P heads know this, diet, zero, regular, almost all taste the same. Rare in the soda world.
For the most part.
A Diet Coke and a Coke doesn't taste the same. A Diet Pepsi and a Pepsi does not taste the same. Diet Mountain Dew and regular Mountain Dew, not the same. Diet Dr. Pepper and regular Dr. Pepper, you really can't tell the difference.
Yeah. It's
reliable product.
It's
probably
reliable most
product.
Similar of the sodas when you go down to the diet. This, I gotta tell you, this Coke is heavy. I don't even know.
Are you all right? Are you gonna make it?
I already had one.
It's like cough syrup. It's like literally slurping cough syrup. It's disgusting.
It even feels thick. Like I know it probably isn't any thicker than the other, but it feels thick.
Do you ever go to like restaurants these days and you see people just chugging soda and you think about, because like there was a time where I did that. I would go out to eat or whatever.
Yeah.
And I would just have like 7 sodas because they just keep bringing it to you and you're like, ah, sure. I see people now and I'm like, man, how do you do that?
What about these people who they just grab a 2-liter, plop it next to the recliner and watch like a game and just chug the 2-liter?
It's wild.
I had a friend who used to in New Jersey who does, and I'd go over his house and he's just chugging 2 liters and then just grabbing another one. And I'm like, what the how are you not dead?
Right.
Like,
Is he dead?
Is
he dead now?
No, but he's not too far off from meeting the Reaper probably with but that's a whole nother story. But I don't know. Like I'm not
wild. Yeah.
I'm not that guy. I don't tell people how to eat or live. I'm not one of those people, like
I just don't know how they physically
annoying.
do it. I just don't know how they physically, like their body doesn't just reject the amount of sugar and
That's
the
what
amount
I mean.
of like sweetness coming into their body.
And I swear I'm not that guy where if someone's like, oh, I'm going to Taco Bell. You want anything? Oh, Taco Bell. Oh, you're going to be on the toilet. You're looking to have a heart. Oh, you ate McDonald's today? Well, good luck with the heart attack, buddy. I can't stand that shit when people pull that shit. But it just, I wonder these people who chug these fucking. I'm reading the back of this can, Rick.
Right. Don't read the back of your
39 grams of sugar. Like, what the fuck? And there's someone right now listening to this chugging a 2-liter. There is.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
It's crazy.
Not even pouring it in a glass, like just 2-liter next to them, holding it, and yeah. Also, the worst delivery method of soda anyway. I guess if you're gonna take the whole 2-liter down in one sitting, it's not. But what a stupid invention too, because it's like you either gotta drink it all in one day. The next day, it's gonna be awful. It's gonna lose all of its carbonation. It's gonna be weird.
The bottles?
The 2-liter bottle. The 2-liter. Just terrible.
You got to screw it on with like a vite where it's like impossible to reopen. That's the only way to keep it carbonated.
Right.
You got to like screw that fucker on and like strip
and
the
even
fucking.
then, you're barely.
It's your only hope, because you're right. It's just once you've opened it, it's finished, unless you really screw that fucker on to where no one else in the house can open it.
Yeah,
but
I do remember too, as like being a child, and especially obviously when I grew up, and probably similar to when you grew up as well, is that like I'd like never drink water. It was just like commonplace to drink soda.
No, never,
all
never
the time.
Drank water.
And
never.
I think about it now, and I'm like, I never drink.
As a kid, I never drank water.
Never. Like, think about going over to your friends' houses. I talked about this with my friends not that long ago too. I'm like, think about how. We never drink water, ever. I never went to your house and ever once was offered a glass of water. I never once sought out a glass of water. At no point ever were we drinking soda and one of the parents said, geez, that's a lot of soda, guys. How about some water? Never, ever, not once.
Yeah.
It was either
not a single
drink this soda or you've had too much soda. How about this Sunny Delight, which is no better, no better than soda.
No,
you may as well just drink the soda. Never. And like now I chug so much goddamn water now. I drink water like an idiot now. I drink liters of water every single day now. But as a kid, never once. Didn't touch my lips until I was like 12 years old did I have water ever. Were you similar as well?
Yeah, no, not. I don't remember ever drinking water as a kid. Do you remember when, like, they used to have? Now they only have these for like the store brands, but they used to make soda in 3-liter bottles. Do you remember the 3-liter bottles?
Yeah, Faygo. I used to get Faygo in 3-liter bottles. By me.
Like
some
Coke.
dollar store near me used to have 3-liter Faygos for $1, and let me tell you, I wasn't a juggalo, but I got down on some 3-liter Faygo. I'll tell you that.
They used to have Coke, Pepsi, everything used to come in 3-liter, and my mother was a caffeine-free Pepsi drinker.
Oh God, that's such a mom thing to do. Like, my babysitter was a caffeine-free, and it had like the gold cans, right? Wasn't it the gold cans?
Yeah, that gold. The gold
so
design.
It looked like you were old. It just looked like you were 77 years old drinking your gold.
You definitely look like you would have wood paneling inside your house too if you were drinking caffeine-free Pepsi. So she'd have the 3 liters of caffeine-free Pepsi in the house, and we didn't want that shit. So I had one friend on the block whose mother would always have his refrigerator stocked with cans of Coke, which to me was like this amazing luxury because my mother wouldn't buy the can. Like, we couldn't afford that shit. We were broke as hell. And so I would go over to Joe Cavezza's house because his mom would have the cans of Coke, and I would just drink all of her cans of Coke. He still has not returned my 9 Inch Nails DVD from
Come on, fucker. Well, put him on blast. Put him on blast right now, right here.
I just did. Yeah, I just did. Yeah, I just did. But maybe that's payback for all the cans of Coke I drank when I was like 12 years old, going over his house. You
think he still got it in like a spindle or something like that? You think he's still holding on to that?
I bet he still has it. I mean, in fairness, I don't think I ever asked for it back, and then we kind of just, you know what happens with friends. You just move apart, right?
Yeah, I have one of my friends. I have one of my friends' 311 CDs. Well, I don't have it anymore. I got rid of it.
You're the guy,
but I'm the guy. And like then we like didn't talk for years, and then it was too long, and it was like I couldn't 4 years. I eventually saw him again and talked to him again like many years ago. But it was like I can't be like, hey, I got your 311 CD. You want it back? Because it was so long now that then there was this shame that I was like, fuck, I still have his 311 CD. I better just kind of keep this thing forever. So.
No, if you still know the guy, you should give it back. That'd be very funny.
I definitely do not have it anymore, but I could check. I could check the old parents' house.
Get one on eBay or something.
Just replace it for him.
Yeah.
I have since fallen out of. I'm not sure what he's doing these days. I don't know what he's doing these days. But
are CDs vintage yet, or are they super cheap?
I don't know. I'm not sure if they've quite gotten there yet. I think they are. Because Y2K is in now. I don't know if you're aware, but in the vintage game, we're starting to kind of move past the 90s, and we're moving into Y2K fashion, which nobody really should. Everybody should just forget about the 2000s fashion. It wasn't that good.
No, I see on eBay you get any 311 CD for like $3.
Yeah, it was like in blue. It was like blue or something like that. What was the hell's the name of it?
Yeah, the blue one with the 311 on the front.
Yeah, it might have just been the self-titled. Yeah, 311. I don't even like 311. I don't know why I borrowed that. I don't know why I borrowed it.
You liked them a lot that
Down,
summer.
I guess I wanted to hear Down, so I was like, I better get the CD so I could hear 311
you liked
Down.
Them that
summer.
Yeah, you that was the summer of 311 for Rich. It was
1995 or something like that. Yeah, 95, 96, somewhere around there.
They're considered junk at this point. So you can get one for the bit and give it back. Now, if you were like, I still have my friend's original press of Led Zeppelin 2, on vinyl, you might be in trouble. Like, that might cost you something.
Yeah.
Finding that. You know what I mean? Like a CD, you could, you could get this for $375. Buy it now, right now.
There's still too many CDs floating around. People either kept them or there has it, because that's the thing that makes things rare, is that people get rid of them. That's what 90s fashion became, fun and interesting, because a lot of people got rid of their 90s shit and threw it away or whatever. And then there was so much less of it that it was like, oh wow, this like shirt of this random 90s thing is. But like, I feel like CDs are in a weird position where everybody kind of held onto them for a long time. And we didn't like get rid of them in the same way that we got rid of vinyl or got rid of cassettes or whatever. Because cassettes are another one too. They had a very, very, very brief like retro run. I know it was at there's a vintage fest that happens across the street from my house every so often. I went, there was some guy selling a bunch of cassettes, and he was there one year, and then the next year he wasn't there, and I was like, whatever. And I thought about it too, and I'm like, why am I buying these cassettes? I was looking at them, I'm like, oh, that's pretty cool. Like decent deals on cassettes, and I was like, where am I going to play these? I don't have a cassette player. Do I really want to play these cassettes?
And it's going to be a hassle to find a place to play the cassettes. And
like this vintage fest, they sell VHSs too, and I'm always like, oh, that's pretty cool to get one of these VHS. And then like I threw away my VHS player like 5 years ago. Finally, after it sat there for 10 years, I'm not getting it back. I'm done.
That era of media sucks anyway.
Right.
Who wants to listen to a cassette or watch a VHS? If you don't have to, you don't.
Exactly.
Like
the hassle that I thought of because like I still have all of my almost all of my old wrestling VHSs. I won't let my mom throw them away. And she's always like, do you? And I'm like, just in case. But then I'm like, I'm not going to ever pop one of these bad boys. I'm not going to pop Survivor Series 1990 into a VHS player and be like, oh, here we go.
Not that kind of wrestling. Like if you have some tape you trade for.
Right. I don't have anything like that.
That's a different thing.
Yeah, I don't have anything like that.
It's like that, but again, only because that's the only way. If there was another way, you would never fucking watch. Like that era, cassettes and VHS, the quality is just shit. Like there's people who prefer the sound of an album. So there's value in that, right? And CDs obviously still sound great. Here, just to show you what I was talking about. Not used. Led Zeppelin 2 original, still sealed, eBay, $2,700. So see, you're getting off easy with the 311 CD.
Yeah, right. If I had David's first pressing of the Led Zeppelin, then I would be in some trouble.
Right. You'd be in trouble because here's one that isn't sealed, $900. You're still fucked. So, there you go. But the CD's still not. I still got a garage full of CDs. I'm just sitting here hoping, one day they'll be vintage, but they won't be. It's like hoping your 1989 Topps baseball card set will someday be worth something. It won't. It's the junk wax era. There's tens of thousands of boxes of those fucking things that still aren't even open because they printed so many of them. So you could just fucking forget it. You can stick them with your cassettes and your DVDs, and they're never going to be worth anything.
I swear to God, we'll get to wrestling right after this. And he
wrestling.
Yeah, wrestling's kind of bad anyway. So he might be in the chat right now. I don't know if he is, but Sean Flynn. Sean Flynn's popped up on the Patreon several times. He used to write Raw reviews for us. So we went to a card show like 3 or 4 months ago. And we just bought random packs of cards. We were going like because a lot of people were going to sell like you have the glass cases with the really expensive stuff or whatever. And he bought a couple of those as well. But we always like to just buy a bunch of packs. And most of them suck. But it's kind of like a let's remember some guys sort of thing. So we just buy a bunch of fucking packs, 89 tops, and this 92 upper deck, and baseball, basketball. We'll just buy a bunch of random ones. We'll come home with about 40 random packs of cards, open them, and just kind of laugh and like, look at them, kind of put them off to the side, pass them around or whatever. So we do that. He pulls a Ken Griffey Jr. rookie card. Like the Ken Griffey Jr. rookie card?
The upper deck one?
The upper deck one. The one everybody knows. And we were like, what the fuck? The rest of us, I got nothing. I got like 7 Rex Chapman cards or whatever out of my, I got nothing. I got absolutely fucking nothing. I got Jeff Rulin and Max Rex Chapman cards or whatever over here. Nothing worthwhile at all. Julio Franco cards, nothing that's good. And I'm just like, man. And so he goes to send it in to get it graded. And they come back with like, it was like a 3 or something like that. It's worth like nothing.
How is that possible?
I don't know.
Out of a pack?
Yeah, we're and
that should have been mint at worst.
Something's up with the grading system these days. I think now it's like it has to be fucking perfect. It's got to be cut perfectly. There can't be any sort of the card.
I get it if it wasn't a 10. I get that. 'Cause it's got to be centered properly and everything. But that should have been no worse.
It may have been a 5. It may have been a 5, but it wasn't higher than a 5. Yeah, so we were all like, "Whoa, that's a little strange." So the world of card grading is certainly. When I saw that, I was like, "I'm out, man. I'm out. Forget it."
Well, see here, I'll tell you what happened. All the card grading and collecting, worrying about what they're worth, drove me away. But now that I've stopped caring about that, I'm back in, and it's just I'm not worried about any of that shit. I just want to find, a 1965 Topps Juan Marichal, and and
is that the last one? Is that the last one you need?
Well, no, I just threw one out there.
I see.
I don't even know. I don't even know if I have that one. I think I do. I think he's. Let me look. Yeah, I do have that one actually, but No, there's a couple different sets I'm just trying to complete. You know, I like the 59 tops. I like the 65 tops. There's a couple others.
If you need a Nelly Fox, I can steal it from my dad. I bought him a 59 Nelly Fox Topps card a couple years ago. So if you want, I can take it from him and give it to you.
That 1959 top set is just a beautiful set.
Fucking perfect. Yeah, Nelly Fox with a big fucking hunk of chaw out of the side of his mouth. It's so good. Yeah, it's people that don't know, card people might know, but it's like big circle photo, bright color behind. Bright it's red or pink or yellow or orange. Blue, just green. Beautiful cards. Beautiful cards. There's a great Ernie Banks card from that year.
That's my favorite. That is my favorite baseball card of all time. Is the 59 Ernie Banks.
Just
I've had
bright
for about
green, I think. Right, bright green, and just
I got one at a card show in like 1988 when I was a kid.
He looks like he's 7 years old or something.
Yes, it's a beautiful card. It's my favorite card. When people ask to see my cards, it's the first one I show them, and they're never that impressed. But I just love that fucking card.
Yeah, it's a great card. It's a great card.
I love that 59 Ernie Banks. It's my favorite card. It's just a perfect baseball card. Like he looks so young, you know, and it's just a beautiful design card. You got that old Cubs logo where it's like that poorly drawn bear cub.
The weird demented
by
bear.
Like the 7-year-old.
Yeah, it's the weird bear, yeah.
With the googly eyes, like that fucking logo.
It doesn't even look like a bear.
It's just an incredible set. I've been slowly putting that set together because it's old enough to where it's kind of difficult, but it's also not super expensive if you're not going for the graded one. It's just, you know, it's leisurely, and I'm not worried about what they're worth. I don't give a shit. I'm never selling them. What do I care? What do I care what they're worth? What does it matter what these things are worth if you never plan on selling them? Essentially, that means they're worth $0, right?
Right.
So
to you, they're worth zero because you don't care.
I would never get rid of them. Yeah, I just want them. Yeah. And then when I'm fucking dead, you know, the kids can do whatever they want with them, but, you know, maybe they'll be into it and maybe they won't fucking sell them. I don't know. They're not into it yet. I'm waiting patiently, but, they're not into the sports yet. And maybe they never will be, but, when did you start getting into the sports? Cause they gotta be getting close.
I was a very early adopter. Yeah. I mean, my dad was sports crazed. So I was like, to hang out with my dad, I had to like watch sports. So I was watching NASCAR races and White Sox games when I was, I don't know. I mean, it's literally as old as I can remember. I don't remember a time when I wasn't into the sports. So I don't know.
Can you think of a season and then figure out how old you were? I think
I
have.
I definitely know that the year I was at the Brookfield Zoo in Chicago, near Chicago, when the Chicago Bulls won the 93 title, the NBA Finals. And I remember being at the zoo, and there was nobody at the zoo. And I remember them playing it over the speakers of like some store or whatever. I was in some random gift shop or whatever, and they were playing it, and everybody was celebrating or whatever. And that's when I realized, wait a minute, why am I not home watching the Bulls? And then from that point forward, like 1993 on, I was like, you gotta let me. I gotta be like in this. I can't be like I can't be going to the zoo. You know what I mean? Like I gotta be
right.
No,
I have to be the fucking zoo.
Like I used to watch sports and enjoy it, but that was the first time where I was like, hold on, nah. I ain't going to the fucking zoo when the Bulls are in the NBA Finals. All right, like let's make that clear right now.
Fucking sloths aren't going anywhere. We'll see the sloths next week.
So that was like I look at that year as a turning point in my life where I was like, okay, hold on a minute. Like this needs to be the most important thing in my life. I can't be looking at the fucking Lions while my Bulls are over there winning a title. All right. So that I was looking at that year as like a turning point in my life.
What age are we talking? 8?
I would have been, let's see here, 1993. What am I? Yeah, 6.
That's real young.
Yeah. I was in. Trust me, I was reading like sporting news by 7. Like I was real deep in it. Do
you have real memories of watching Jordan or no?
The second half.
The comeback.
Yeah. Not much though. Not. I wasn't like a learned basketball fan at that point yet. I knew he was good, but it wasn't like I didn't know what I was really watching. It would come like it was quite literally like a year later that I really got basketball, and then that point forward, I was like, shit, I just missed the peak here. But that's okay. I had enough good memories anyway.
Yeah.
I do remember that 92 World Series too. You know what? With the Jays, the walk-off.
Yeah. Joe Carter.
Because my dad worked for a Canadian company at that time, And he used to go to and from Toronto all the time, and he'd bring me like Jays gear back all the time. So I had a Blue Jays hat and a Blue Jays shirt or whatever, and I remember watching that. For sure, I remember watching a lot of Blue Jays during that, and I remember that walk-off for sure. So but I'm 93. That 6 years old was a really vivid, like, okay, I need to be watching sports all the time now.
That's Joe Carter off Mitch Williams. That
Wild thing, yep.
The first Super Bowl I vividly remember watching, remember where I was, remember watching the game, was Bears-Patriots. That's the first one I can't remember any Super Bowls before that. So yeah, I guess my kids are about the age you were when you got into it, but a little younger than me.
So actually,
we'll see.
93 the again. Again, the walk-off was 93. I mixed the years up. So it was absolutely 1993. Clearly, it was the year that I like Joe Carter was on. Mitch was 93. So that's the year for sure.
And that's it. 1993 was your year.
Yeah, because at that point I was just like only watching ESPN all day. That's what I said. Like,
well,
I started
I think the video games probably helped. A lot
for
of
sure.
people too.
Yeah. Oh, definitely. But like, man, people don't realize what it was like to be a sport. It's different. You know what I mean? Like, I get why kids these days aren't into sports. But like, man, growing up for me, it was like, you know, I woke up and got the sports pages. You know, I got the newspaper. I'd read it. Yeah. Like, I couldn't really read all that well at that. You know, I guess at that point I'm reading pretty good. Yeah. But like, I'd be like, hey, Dad, give me the sports. And I'd watch it, and I'd like I'd get like sporting news and Sports Illustrated. Like, I never even watched. You remember when they had the Sports Illustrated for kids? You were probably a little too old for that.
Oh, I never read that.
I never did. I was like, no, that's baby shit, man. Give me the real. Give me like, you know, Jack McCallum writing about the. I was like, that was me. I was like, I got no time for that. Yeah. I got no time for that. I need Jack, you know, writing about the Portland Trailblazers and their quest to, you know, that's what I wanted, you know.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm gonna read breaks of the game. I ain't watching fucking Sports Illustrated for kids. Get the hell out of here. It's baby shit with crossword puzzles and stuff. Fuck out of here.
I'd pace around by the front door waiting for my dad to get home from work with the newspaper so I could read the Reds box score.
Yeah.
You know, some days I didn't even know whether they won or lost until I got that fucking paper. You know, and then I'd stare at that fucking box score and, all right, Eric Davis went 2 for 4 with a double. Great. You know,
reading box scores. Like, imagine reading box scores. I used to do that. I'd wake up and I'd read every single box score of every single game. Just
I would track the fucking stats of the Reds players because the paper wasn't good enough for me. Like, I had to know how many doubles they each had, how many hits, and when they played on the West Coast, it would fuck me all up because the paper.
Oh, the worst! You'd wake up and it'd be like late game. You're like, fuck, what happened?
Reds at Dodgers, and there'd be no score. It would just say late.
Yeah,
right?
late.
And then they wouldn't have that score until the next day's paper. So you were always one day behind when your team was on the West Coast, which was infuriating.
Oh, terrible.
And then sometimes if there wasn't enough space, they'd just give you the line score from those games 2 days before. And then you're like, I'm trying to track these stats. How am I going to know Mario Soto's ERA?
Right. What a disaster.
You know, it's it's bullshit. You know, cursing and spitting at 7 years old.
Because even if you were watching SportsCenter, then you run you're maybe getting a minute at a time. If your team's not very good, you're getting a minute.
They even do your game. They might not even do your game.
Right.
And you might just get a highlight or two. Yeah, and then I was lucky because everyone got the Braves and I got the Mets and I also got the Phillies locally. So I'd see a pretty decent chunk of those Reds games between the three teams. And then you toss in ESPN now and then, right? With a Sunday night baseball or whatever. Tuesday, Friday, doubleheaders, Wednesday and Sunday night. That was the ESPN schedule for like 10 years for baseball. Because they had that fucking jingle. They had that commercial.
Yep.
Tuesday, Friday, double headers, Wednesday, blah, 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 blah. So that's how you knew. And then they'd be like, Sunday night, a home run. And then the fucking cartoon guy would hit the home run. So that's how you knew the ESPN baseball schedule. Tuesday, Friday, double headers, Wednesday and Sunday. And you fucking pray that your team would be on. You lived local, so it was good. You didn't have to worry about it.
Right.
But I pray I get some extra games. Oh shit, Reds Padres on Sunday. Fuck yeah.
Hell yeah, let's go.
You know?
Barry Larkin, Tony Gwynn, let's fucking do it.
Yeah, it was so exciting and you'd be fucking glued to it because it was such a novelty, you know? And always fall asleep in like the 7th inning, you know? But yeah, it's you don't have to work as hard now.
Nah, and
You
that makes it less
don't
fun.
have to work as hard now.
A lot less fun.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. The same thing with the NFL. I would be like, oh, Rams, they're playing the 49ers. There's a chance they'll be on locally. You know what I mean? Like if they're playing a real good team, like there's a chance. You wait for that newspaper and you get disappointed, you know? So you'd have to be Jets, Giants, or Monday Night Football. You'd have to get lucky, you know, on a week where like the Jets were off or something.
Yeah, there was a long time where you probably weren't watching a whole lot of Rams games.
No, maybe 2 or 3 a year, you know, whatever was on national TV.
Yeah, those early 90s.
They would play the Giants or the Jets. You know, so yeah, they didn't get, you know, they weren't getting a lot of run, you know. So, you know what I would do though, and this is something else people probably don't do. If let's say they were playing, give me a NFL city reasonably close to New Jersey, but not really that close. Let's say they were playing
Cincinnati.
Patriots.
No, Patriots. All right.
Yeah, the Bengals. That's a good one too.
Yeah.
I'd take a fucking radio and try to find like a radio
point
broadcast.
it towards Cincinnati.
Yeah, exactly.
That way. All right.
Yeah, attach the fucking aluminum foil. And then sometimes you get like a faint radio signal from like fucking Boston or whatever the fuck. And I would sometimes do it that way too. Otherwise, you know what it was? You're waiting for the 10-minute ticker, which doesn't even exist anymore. Every 10 minutes, NBC called it the 10-minute ticker. And they would give you the scores every 10 minutes during the game you were watching because there was no internet. It's the only way you could get the scores. This is called the 10-minute ticker. This is before they had the ticker running on the bottom of the screens. So you'd have to time it and make sure you were watching and then hope that your team like took the lead in the preceding 10 minutes. It's fucking crazy. And then hope that they'd show your highlights. Like every time they'd cut in to the game, I'd be like, let's go to the studio for an update.
You're like,
on.
Yes.
You'd hope it was your team.
Yes, Marshall Falk did
what?
And then nothing happened. Yeah, they didn't show it.
You know, Rams, and then one, even if they said your team, you're like, oh shit, I hope we have the ball when the highlight starts. You know what I mean? Like, I hope we're on offense when this fucking highlight starts. You know? But then sometimes you get the dusty finish. Like you do have the ball, and you're like, oh shit, we must have scored, and it's like a fucking pick six, right? And your heart is ripped out. Yeah, that's what following sports was like.
That's better. That's better, man.
Before the internet. In a lot of ways, you know, obviously I would never trade it for what we have now. I got 4 fucking TVs in my den, Rich. You know what I mean? Like I never miss anything.
Right.
It's like, obviously this is so much better. You know what I mean? This is like everything you could ever dream of, what we have now. But there was a certain charm to following this shit back then. It's kind of like wrestling with tape trading. Like, yeah, it's so much easier now where you just subscribe to 9,000 different over-the-top services. Oh, there's a live Noah show on. Oh, maybe I'll watch it. Like, we're so fucking spoiled, you know? Oh, I'm not watching that live from halfway around the globe. I'll fucking watch it Wednesday, you know? It's like, but there was a certain charm.
Yeah, I did yard work last week and took a TV that I have in my garage out to the yard with me, ran an extension cord, and watched Backlash France. I watched a wrestling show from France on a TV in my backyard while I did yard work because I was like, I really got to finish this job. And Backlash started. You know what? I'll just grab the TV, run the extension cord. There we go. So I watched an hour Backlash France while outside doing it. So that's nice. I will.
Yeah.
That is definitely nice.
Yeah, I don't want to go backwards. But yeah, exactly. But there was a certain charm to getting them tapes in the fucking mailbox.
You just appreciate it more. I think you appreciate it a lot more. Yeah, you appreciate it.
Yeah, and I'm like calling my friends, and I'm like, I got the FMW tape with the fucking Hayabusa spot, and they'd all fucking come over, and you know, we'd fucking watch glued to the fucking TV. You don't take your fucking eyes off it. That 6-hour extended play, and we didn't care if the matches were bad. We didn't care that
they were just happening. They were just happening, and you were watching it.
They were 5 months old and bad. It did not fucking matter. Some third generation copy, like barely watchable. It didn't matter if the match, but when the matches were great, or when you heard of that match was good, like if it was some big, like All Japan Tag League final that you heard was a 5-star match or something, the fucking anticipation when you put the tape on, but you wouldn't fast forward. You'd watch that whole fucking tape. Everything. Giant Kamala 2, you're sitting through it. Okay? Because it was such a novelty. Now, I watched all these shows this week. I'm skipping matches left and right. I'm like, fuck this. You know what I mean? It's different. There's a charm to it. It's weird because you would never go back if you're being honest with yourself. But there was a charm to it, and it was a little more fun. Now, one era I will never go back to is the upload download era.
Oh, fuck that. Fuck that era. That era sucked. Yeah, here's
in between tapes and now that era. You know what?
Garbage.
Bring this full circle. It's like cassettes and VH. Like that era fucking sucked. Where you'd have to go to Mega Upload, and the shows were in like 3 parts.
Yeah, it's 7-part Mega Upload. Parts 5 and 6 don't work. 3 is taking an hour to download for some reason. 1 or 2 work fine. 4 is done. 7's done. 3 is taking. It says the remaining 2 hours. And 5 and 6
one just
won't
gets
download.
Stuck and never moves.
Right? Like, oh,
you know, you it's like a 4-part show, and it's always like part 1 and 3, of course, that would work properly. Part 2 would get stuck on 47% and just never fucking move. You come home from work and it's still on 47%. You're cursing, you're spitting. And part 4 just doesn't fight. Part 4 is 100%, but then you go to play it and it's blank.
Yeah, right. Nothing there. Yeah, you play the video and
And that's the
0-0,
main event, and you're like-
0-0. It came with a little error message, and you go, all right, well,
Oh
Yeah.
my God, did that fucking suck?
that
And
era
like
was awful.
people would put the uploads up and then it gets snatched down before you got a chance to get to. It's just such a fucking disaster. That has no nostalgia value at all. That era, 0 fucking nostalgia. But the tape trading, absolutely, there's some nostalgia there. And the old trying to watch an out of market sports team. There was a charm to it. It felt special when the game actually was on.
All right, I suppose we should probably do some wrestling at some point. It's actually pretty good. We were doing our card conversation. I believe as of right now, we have a card sponsor here on the show. There's an ad that's going to play at some point during the show. So.
Okay.
Arena Club. So support our friends Arena Club. You'll hear that ad a little bit later in the show. But let's get to the pro wrestling here. A lot of pro wrestling coming up that we are going to touch on. We are going to talk about New Japan Pro Wrestling's Wrestling Dontaku, Night 1 and Night 2. We're going to talk about Noah Wrestle Magic. They had a show from Sumo Hall, including a new GHC Heavyweight Champion and an amazing Guys Being Dudes match that I cannot wait to talk about. Dragongate had their annual Dead or Alive show, including the Steel Cage Survival 5-way match main event. We will talk about that. All Japan Pro Wrestling's Champion Carnival finals are set. Final 2 nights, Night 9 and Night 2 of tournament play are done, and now we're just anticipating a couple days from now the Champion Carnival finals. MLW Azteca Lucha. I will be there live in person on Saturday. We'll preview that show. The good, the bad, and some ugly. There's some ugly. There's some ugly. It's still MLW, so I'm still going to have to deal with some ugly there. But we'll talk about that a little bit later. Let's do a little bit of WWE to start us off real quick here. Just some updates on the Janel Grant lawsuit. Recent court filing from WWE. The company revealed it is intention, or their intention, I should say, to join Vince McMahon and John Laurinitis in seeking arbitration to pause the ongoing Janel Grant lawsuit. So essentially, their exact quote is, quote, WWE also anticipates filing a motion to compel arbitration and stay this action pending arbitration. So all you need to know is essentially WWE is going to join with Vince and John Laurinitis and say, we don't want this thing to go on anymore. And that's kind of the long and the short of it. So Vince McMahon might be out and gone and never coming back and all that sort of stuff, but they're more than happy to join along with him and saying, yeah, none of this. No, let's go to arbitration for this thing. So
none of these defendants want the facts to come out.
No. And that's what Laurinitis eventually realized. Vince obviously realized that from jump, and of course WWE was going to do this to him. It's not surprising that they're not like, yeah, let's open these things up, let's open these emails up and see what's going on here. Like they don't want to do that. So of course they were going to join along with at least with Vince. Laurinitis was the one, because initially he was like, yeah, no, let's I was a victim too, and everybody was like, oh, this could get interesting if Laurinitis turns. But WWE, Vince, and Laurinitis all going to, seek arbitration to pause this case. So, yeah, it's kind of where we are right now. So we'll see. I think everybody has to file by May 14th is the defendants, and the plaintiff has to file by June 4th. and the defendants have to reply by June 18th. So those are the days to kind of look at. May 14, June 4, and June 18. That's where we'll know, what the defendants are officially going to do. We know they're all going to seek arbitration. June 4th, that's when obviously Janel Grant's side is going to have to figure out what they're going to do. And then June 18th is the defendants' reply to whatever the Janel Grant, what they want to do to move forward with that. So that's that. I don't know if I really have any more to add to that. Just let you know. That's what you got there. WWE is re-upping with NBCU for the final months of 2024. There was the question of where Raw would air from September to December of this year. That has finally been answered. It is in the place that I think most of us, at the time we discussed this, we said this is what makes sense for all parties involved, is just going back to USA for those final 3 months. And NBCU did secure those rights for the final 3 months of the year for Raw. Just $25 million, which is a pretty good bargain for NBCU and USA. And I've seen several people, talk about how, oh man, this is, it doesn't bode well for AEW and it doesn't bode well. WWE had no leverage whatsoever in this situation. They had nowhere to go. Netflix wasn't ready to take them. No other network is going to take this program for 3 months in a very weird lame duck situation. It felt like this is the way it had to go, and you kind of had to have this thing get put onto USA. So that $25 million, and yeah, it's a huge discount for NBCU and for USA, and it's obviously not what WWE is getting for their broadcast rights on the open market or whatever. But this wasn't really the open market in a lot of ways. So I don't know if this has anything to do with AEW. I don't think it has anything to do with the softening of TV rights deals or whatever. It was essentially that Raw and WWE really had nowhere else to go but this option. So they took whatever deal they had.
They had no leverage at all.
Right.
They had no leverage. This is what it tells us. It tells us that Netflix was not willing to take them on early.
Right. They're either not ready or they don't want to.
Or they don't want to. That's what it tells us. And at that point, they had no leverage. It was they have nowhere to air this thing. So NBC got a great deal. And this was the best case scenario for all involved because NBC basically gets a roughly a $40 million discount because they were paying over $60 million per quarter.
Right.
Okay. So that's a massive discount. And WWE is okay with this because they just don't want to be in a situation where they have nowhere to air their show for 3 months. So it's like, fine, we'll take the $25 million. We got the big deal waiting for us 3 months later. This was the most reasonable solution for all parties. And you kind of figured it was going to end this way, assuming Netflix didn't want to take it on early. Now, you kind of had to figure Netflix didn't want to take it on early, or they would have just made a deal from the fourth quarter of 2024. But they specifically made a deal for the start of 2025. So this is why when we talked about it originally, I think we both came to the conclusion that, look, USA should just get, air this thing for those remaining 3 months. And that's what ultimately ended up happening. So,
well, because we talked about too of like how weird would it be if WWE had to be like, Michael Cole has to go, all right, so this is our final episode on USA. You can find us now on, FS1 for,
right.
but not too long because in January we're going to Netflix. It's like, well, hold on a minute. So are you on FS1 or are you on Netflix? Like, we know because we're in the weeds here. We understand this stuff. But if you're like just a random person watching, it's like, all right, they're on FS1 and then they're going to be on FS1. They're like, oh, hey, come watch us on Netflix. And it's like, it's now it's like a very clear, like we are done with USA in December and we're moving to Netflix. That's right. Nice and clear and easy and obvious. It's at the end of the year. Hey, starting in 2025, we're going to be on Netflix. Boom. It's so much easier from a PR standpoint. It's just way easier.
If I were Nick Khan in WWE, I wouldn't have even have negotiated with anyone else unless NBC absolutely told me they weren't interested.
Right.
I wouldn't have even shopped it around. I just would have made whatever deal I could have gotten with them. So it's a nice, clean transition from one network to the next. There's two people I would have negotiated with, USA and Netflix. That's it. I wouldn't even, and I would have taken whatever the better deal was between the two, and the only way I would have gone away from either one of them is if both of them just had zero interest, which, at $25 million, it's a great deal for NBC, and there's really, no reason to do it at over a $40 million discount. There's one thing I want to say very quickly about this, and then we can move on because there's really not much else to dissect in regards to it. But just another example of Eric Bischoff just being completely full of shit and an absolute total fraud. And this one is just stunning. Okay, so
I don't
Rich,
think I
I
saw
don't even
this
know if
one.
you saw this.
I don't think I did. Go on. I'm interested.
So Dave Scherer, earlier today when the deal broke, tweeted the following, and I quote, WWE taking a $41.25 million hit in the fourth quarter compared to what they are getting on their current deal and keeping Raw and USA until they go to Netflix. That's what having no leverage does in a negotiation, end quote. Dave Scherer is right.
Yes.
The worst person you know is correct. I mean, that's exactly what happened here. I mean, they had no leverage and they had to take that hit. And you just, for all the reasons we just said, you just have to do it for continuity reasons. So Eric Bischoff quote tweets Dave Scherer with the old clown emoji. A few minutes later, Bischoff quote tweets himself and says, "Whoa, my bad. Dave Scherer just got hit with a stray."
Oh my God.
Listen. Bischoff saw the name Dave and thought it was Meltzer. So he hit it with the clown emoji. He thought it was Meltzer. So he clown emoji. And then when he realized it wasn't Meltzer, he backtracked and apologized.
Oh my God.
Right out in the open.
Mask
on
off.
his timeline.
Mask off.
Mask off. He's basically showing you it does not matter what Dave Meltzer says. He's just going to shit on everything he says. Because not only was Dave Scherer's take the correct take,
absolutely
and the logical
unequivocally correct take. Yes.
There's no other take to have. Okay? So it tells you one of two things. Bischoff's so stupid that he disagrees with the take, but he doesn't disagree with the take because he openly admitted on his timeline a few minutes later that he hit Scherer with a stray and thought, because obviously he thought it was Meltzer. These are the games that Eric Bischoff plays. He is 100% useless as an analyst. It's entertainment. It's performative. It's just disagree with everything Dave Meltzer says, disagree with every decision Tony Khan makes, and put over everything WWE does. It's entertainment. It's a performance. And he understands how stupid his own audience is because this was all out in the open.
He doesn't even delete it. He doesn't even, yeah.
He doesn't delete it. He doesn't try to hide it. He hits the wrong guy with the clown emoji, admits that he fucked up, right? And backtracks because it wasn't Meltzer.
So good.
And doesn't care that his audience sees it, that sees him doing this, because he knows they're so stupid that they're not gonna, that they don't care. And then to top it off, because if you thought Scherer wasn't gonna, but then Scherer replies to Bischoff walking it back with "pop!" exclamation point. So even Scherer is like this giant dope. He's like, "Oh, I understand, Eric. You thought you weren't clowning on me. You thought Meltzer said it." But what this tells you is it doesn't matter what's said. Bischoff's just a fucking fraud. He doesn't know anything. He doesn't believe in anything. He doesn't understand anything. He's just playing to an audience of quite literally the dumbest people in the fandom.
I made the mistake. Now I'm looking at the replies, and they're so good. One guy says, "No one is safe." This guy says, "All Daves better watch out." One guy has laugh emojis, laugh emojis, laugh emojis. This one guy has laugh emojis, little quick with the trigger finger, laugh emoji, laugh emoji, laugh emoji.
It's all a game. It's just performative.
Yep.
It's all a fucking game. He saw the name Dave and he hit the clown emoji.
Like, what are we doing?
It doesn't even matter what the words are,
No,
Rich.
it doesn't matter. Yeah. God.
And then he just admits it. "Oh, sorry, hit you with a stray there,
my
buddy."
bad. And then his legions of fans go, "Easy E does it again."
"Oh, sorry, Dave. That's the Dave I like. That was actually a good point."
So, do you agree with the take or not? Do you think it was a good take, a bad take?
Well, here's the
nothing.
thing.
Nothing.
Rich, he doesn't know.
He doesn't know.
Fucking have a clue.
He doesn't know. He worked in the TV business.
He doesn't know
Yeah.
whether it's a good or bad take. He's clueless.
Oh my God. I want to say it's good, but it's also so bad. It's so bad.
It's just ridiculous. It makes you lose faith because it's like people will still listen to this guy.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like they think he knows nothing. He knows nothing. He offers nothing. He's just completely worthless to this man is completely worthless to pro wrestling. And Conrad will still trot him out there.
Wise choices, baby. Every week.
Hell, listen, he pushes back, Rich. He pushes back on him. He pushes back. He does his job.
Yeah. Quickly here. SmackDown. This came out about an hour before we went on the air here, so I just got note of it. Yeah. SmackDown is returning to the USA Network on September 13th, so a little bit earlier than originally planned. Originally, it was supposed to be sometime in October, but now September 13th, the official day for SmackDown to USA. Now, I'm wondering what happened here. Did Fox say, hey, you know what? We got NFL starting, guys, so you want to head on over to back to USA because we're good. We got some stuff. I'm wondering why move this thing up to September? What's the purpose here? Obviously, Fox no longer wants them in prime time. Obviously, they didn't re-sign them for whatever amount. Right. So obviously, they're going back to USA for a nice amount of money or whatever. But they're back to cable, out of Fox. Fox is getting out of the WWE business. I gotta think there's some reason, right, for Fox to say, you guys can go a little early if you want.
I just don't think Fox is interested. I think they lost interest in it very quickly, and they're just not interested anymore. And they're going to have a shit ton of college football starting in September, right? Friday nights.
Right.
They'd rather have that on.
Yeah, because I think they were going to go to FS1 anyway, but now I think they just want them out of their family of networks. Just don't take. Yeah, just if you're going to go to USA, go to USA. You're fine, guys. Leave. We're fine.
They'd probably rather have a football game on FS1 if they can. So, the ad rates are better.
You get Mack games on Friday nights. A lot of places are in Friday nights that early part of the year.
I mean, I don't know what specific. I don't remember what specific packages that anybody has anymore.
Yeah, I forget. Too.
But Fox is just out of the wrestling business, and they probably just it's a lame duck show. They're just washing their hands of it. Now I don't know. Now are there financials? What are the financials of this early exit?
As far as I could see, look at this press release. No, it's just the NBC Universal talking about their lineups this fall. So no, it doesn't say anything.
Okay, so that's how people know because NBC side is saying that.
Right. As far as I can tell, there's nothing yet. Financial wise, we'll see if WrestleNomics or whatever comes out with anything.
This is all breaking news, and as we're recording live, so we do this show live for a live audience, and then so that's why
as far as what Fox has, they have Big 10, Big 12, Mountain West Friday nights on Fox. They'd rather throw a Mountain West game on FS1.
That's what I'm saying. They just want to go all in on the college football, and that's probably all this.
The fourth tier Big 10 game on a Friday is going to be way better than what you're going to get ad rate wise.
Yeah, but I don't know if so. Are they going to have games from all three of those conferences every Friday? I don't
know. Yeah.
So, I guess we'll learn more about this in the next couple days. But that's my guess. My guess is they rather just have football on both networks.
Right, and those conferences are getting so bloated at this point too. There's probably enough games running every single night that your whole family of networks can run. Especially in our current era of college football, it's like these big. I mean, goddamn, what's the Big 10 up to now? It's not 20 yet, right? But this is the year where they're adding UFC, and so I don't even know. I have no idea who's in what conference anymore. I've gotten to that age now where I'm like, oh, I didn't know that. Yeah, that's cool.
Well, SMU is in the ACC,
right? USC is in the Big 10.
That makes a lot of sense.
I can't handle when it was announced that USC, the University of Southern California, was joining the Big 10. I was like, I'm out. I'm done. Yeah, I'm over it.
That's it. It's the dumbest fucking sport, college football. It's just such a dumb fucking sport. USC and UCLA in the Big 10.
Right, I can't do UCLA. Yeah, that's ridiculous. I can't. The USC is going to be facing Northwestern.
Yeah, they're going to head to Piscataway to face Rutgers every 4 years.
What are we doing?
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
I can't handle that.
Total
I can't.
Nonsense.
Yeah, I can't do Nebraska USC being a conference game. I'm not doing it. Purdue versus UCLA in a conference game. I can't do that.
It's going to be 4 mega conferences with all the biggest schools, and then they're going to come to their senses, and then realign again geographically, and you're going to have all the old conferences again.
Yes, and they're going to call them by their names again because people in the Midwest are more comfortable with the Big Ten, and people in the West are more comfortable with the Pac-12, and it's going to exactly.
So you're essentially, they're going to break it down geographically for logistical reasons once they all just fucking merge, and then it's all going to look like the conferences that we had 15 years earlier.
Yeah, kind of like cable, which is going to happen soon enough too.
You can bank on that. You can fucking take that to the bank.
Right. You'll have the ACC, the Big Ten, the Pac-12, and I don't know who else.
The SEC.
Oh, SEC, obviously. SEC, yeah. SEC, ACC, Big Ten, and Pac-12 will be the mega conferences.
No, Pac-12's dead, Rich.
Yeah, no, I'm saying in name-wise, they'll probably bring it back.
Oh, you mean when they go back to the...
Yes,
you're
right.
Because
they're going to go with the familiar names that people like or whatever, and you'll go...
They'll all be back.
Yeah.
They'll pick 4 or 5 of them. They'll split them all up geographically, and it'll all be very similar to what we remembered.
Right. So I remember as a kid, I guess I wasn't a kid, I guess I was a little older, when the Big Ten added the 11th team and then they had to put the 1 in their logo. You know what I mean? The 10 had to have a 1 in it. And I'm like,
Penn State.
I'm like,
people thought that was like,
this is ridiculous.
It was crazy when they added Penn State.
I'm like, this is the Big Ten? And there's 11 teams? This is absurd. This is crazy. I can't do this. What's going on? What happened to tradition in my sports? This is absurd. And they're like, oh, look, we're going to put a 1 in the logo, but we're still going to call it the Big Ten, even though there's going to be 11 teams. And everybody was like, man, this is weird, but we'll make it work. I guess we'll make it work. Now there's 18 teams in the Big Ten. It's like, sports.
I think Stanford's in the ACC.
Sure.
Like SMU and
great.
Cal.
Sure. Are they? Great. I don't know. Are they?
Not?
I have no idea. Yeah, right. Stanford in the ACC. Why not? Love it.
Yeah, well.
Are they really? They probably are. I don't care. I don't care enough to look at
Stanford and Cal. Yeah, with SMU.
SMU. Atlantic Coast Conference. Yeah. Oh, God. Well, that's college football. So there you go. That is that. Let's talk about Backlash France a little bit here. So now, obviously, we reviewed this already. If you do not know, instant reaction done last weekend. Right after Backlash France, we went live. We did not go live. Sorry. We recorded it immediately after the show, posted it about an hour after the show went off the air. Instant reaction of Backlash France. That is available on our $5 tier. Usually the instant reaction lives are available on the $10 tier. This one wasn't live, so this is available to $5 and $10 tier members. So we reviewed the show, went match by match, discussed the entire show. If you want to listen to that, you can go, obviously, onto the Patreon and do that. But I want to talk a little bit about the fallout from the show, most notably the press conference that happened afterwards, because it was the post-show press conference. Paul Levesque was asked some questions, mostly bad questions, and one question that got everybody to not everybody. The person that asked the question was fine. And then everybody else that followed, from Paul Levesque to other members of the wrestling media, very embarrassing reaction to all of it afterwards. But essentially, how do you want to break this down of this post-show? I mean, I assume that's what you want to talk about mostly. I don't know. Is there anything else from the fallout of the actual show of Backlash France that you want to talk about, or you just want to get into the press conference?
Well, there was Dave Meltzer reported today that this was the lowest number of the lowest trending WWE pay-per-view on Google ever, and it was only at something like 3,700 pay-per-view buys, which he said was going to go up when he got some more estimates, but would also make it the least purchased WWE pay-per-view ever. And obviously, the world's dumbest people who like listen to Eric Bischoff's podcasts, they all lost their minds and everybody watches on Peacock now, missing the point.
Fucking shit, dumbass. Yeah,
this is the dumbest people
right
on the fucking. But the point here is,
well, Dave has to stop replying to these people too, because he has to stop quote tweeting them and saying, "Actually, I do more."
What? I'm not gonna
go.
This one I'm not gonna blame on Dave, because an aggregator posted what he said about it, and honestly, I think it was Wrestle Talk. They did a pretty good job. Like they didn't put up the quote to be salacious, and they had all, because the quote literally says, this doesn't matter to their bottom line because pay-per-view is such a small piece of it, but
it shows trends. It shows trends. Yeah, because you can look
interest in the show.
Right. You can look at other, Even though it's only 3,700 or whatever, you can look at the Royal Rumble, which had, whatever, 9,000 or 10,000. You can look at the trends and go, wow, this one is trending lower.
Yeah. So what the Google Trends and the pay-per-view buys tell us is they can give you an idea of how much interest there is in a given show. That's why Meltzer tracks that stuff, and he's been tracking it ever since the network rolled out. 2000, when did the network roll out?
2014. 2014.
That's how Dave has continued to track the pay-per-view, which, by the way, every WWE pay-per-view is still available on pay-per-view. So for people who don't have Peacock or aren't interested in Peacock, we talk about it all the time. But it's still useful to track that kind of data just if you want to know general interest in a show. Yeah, it's not meaningful to the bottom line or anything like that, but that isn't the point. So I don't even think Wrestle Talk aggregated it poorly. They had the whole quote. They had all of the context. Rich, people are just very stupid. There is a lot of dim, dull people who just, they listen to people like Eric Bischoff, so they don't know what the fuck is going on. But I thought that was interesting. Now, there's a couple explanations. Number one, it was a show in France that aired at 12 o'clock in the afternoon, but they've had other overseas pay-per-views, and this one had the least interest of any pay-per-view ever. So that analysis is still worth something from that standpoint. I think it was the lousy card coming in. We talked about it. It was a 5-match card that did not look good on paper, with a title match that wasn't compelling from a who's going to win standpoint, because we all knew Cody was going to win. Now, the show turned out to be pretty decent. Like you just said, we did our review behind the paywall, instant reaction. It's on the $5 tier. Spoiler alert, we thought the show was okay. We didn't think it was a terrible show. We put over the main event. We put over the opener. We were critical of a lot of stuff in the middle. But coming into the show, it wasn't a good-looking lineup. It was in France, so there was the time difference. There was a lot of things working against it. I can totally understand why this was the least purchased pay-per-view and the least interest that WWE fans showed in a pay-per-view ever, for all of those various reasons. So that's one piece that came out of this. The second thing is what you just mentioned, which was the presser. And I wrote a piece. It's on the $10 tier behind the paywall. It is entitled, Lucas Sharpio did a great job on Saturday and doesn't owe anyone an apology. It is an inside look of what happened at that press conference that day. Okay. This is not simply an editorial of me defending this reporter who did a tremendous job. I had a great back and forth with him a couple of days later, and had a great conversation with him to help me write this piece. I talked to other people who were in that room for the press conference, other reporters, and there is just some startling revelations that came out of that, both in my piece and when Sharpio went on the Pollock and Thurston show today. Rich, I don't know if you saw this.
I did. I watched the whole interview.
Yeah, he said after he asked his question, a WWE PR rep looked directly at him and said, quote, "What a dumb thing to do," end quote. Meaning the question.
Fuck
asking
them.
about
Fuck
Drew
them.
Gulak.
Are you fucking kidding me?
That is from Lucas Sharpio, and he says it was a WWE PR person who said that to him. Are you How is this not the biggest story in wrestling right now? On top of what I reported, which I understand. We've got our little niche. I don't know how many people read my piece, but enough people did. Did you see some of the things that I uncovered?
Yeah.
From that fucking press conference? I mean, it's disgusting. And again, the whole piece is there to read. I go through the whole timeline. I take you through it. I've got quotes from people that were in the room.
Right. The reaction to other people in the room, the reaction from there was other reactions from WWE PR people in the room too that were not the the exact quote that was told.
Walk people through it.
But yeah, go for it.
Yeah. If you listen closely, when Sharpio asks the question
and you
to
can hear
Levac,
it.
You can hear audible groans if you go back and listen to. And I think he talked about this with Pollock and Thurston.
He did. Yeah.
And I wrote this 3 days before. Those audible groans, according to another media person who was in the room, that grumbling and those groans came from all of the other media, all the content creators, the soft media types who were annoyed that this kid was asking a real question. And by the way, I'm not trying to disrespect him. He's 21 years old. I had a great conversations with him. I should probably stop calling him a kid, but he's
the most adult guy in that room. No, he's a fucking adult.
Yeah.
When you can, the rest of the people in that room are children. He's a fucking adult.
That's right. They were mad. The other people in the room were annoyed that he asked a real question. This is what we're dealing with in these things.
Right. He was derailing the content creation with a question of, hey, did you fire a guy because he sexually assaulted a fellow employee? And, oh, yeah, by the way, you're in the midst of a sexual assault lawsuit, so maybe this is relevant to this man that no longer works for your company anymore after it was maybe revealed or alleged that he possibly touched another employee without her consent. That was that was the groan of, our
why are you
content
going there?
creation is being ruined by this guy asking this stupid question, a very extremely relevant question to ask Paul Levesque.
All these fucking clowns in the room, and that's what they are. They're fucking clowns. And then here's a direct quote from another reporter who was in the room. Okay? Quote, a number of the cosplay type media approached Lucas and gave him grief on the way out as he was hobbling on one leg out of the room. End quote. Because, by the way, he hurt his leg on Friday or on Saturday. I'm losing track of the days. Friday. He hurt his leg when he arrived on Friday getting off the train. And he worked all weekend. He went to the ER at the building, and he worked all weekend on I don't know the exact sprained ankle or whatever it is. And here's this guy who asked the only legitimate question, the entire presser, the only question worth anything. They groan when he asks it. He has a PR person tell him that let me make sure I get the quote right. He has a PR person look at him and say, what a dumb thing to do when he asked the question. And then as he's leaving the press conference, he's got other media people giving him grief that he asked the question. How is this not the biggest story in wrestling? And here's another one. Other reporters were given questions to ask by the WWE PR team.
Oh, not good. Not good.
Other reporters were given the softball questions to ask directly by the PR team. I was told I know exactly which questions, and I know exactly who was given the questions, but I was given that off the record, and I can't say because it's going to open, my source don't want to get in trouble. But give me a fucking break. This should be the biggest story in wrestling right now. This is a fucking joke. And then as everyone's exiting the room, you got Greg Domino, who's the vice president of communications. I think he's one of the guys who signed the cheese boards. We'll get to that.
Oh, yeah.
And Joel Zeitzer, who's the director of international communications. They could be overheard telling one of the reporters, one of the ones that was fed a question, by the way, by those two guys or their team, quote, we know Steve, as in Steve Fall, who Charpier was representing that day for 10 Count Media. We know Steve put him up to this, meaning the question, and they won't be invited back, end quote. So you have WWE's PR team feeding softball questions to their house organ media people to ask Levesque. And listen, I can't tell you what the questions were, but if you go back, you can figure out which ones they were.
You think
you don't have to be a fucking detective.
Yeah, I don't think one of the Hardy Boys to figure that one out. You don't think?
So you have them feeding questions to these goofs, these house organ media people. Okay. Then you have not only the PR people intimidating the guy for asking a decent question and telling him how it was a dumb thing to do. You have the other media people in the room intimidating him and giving him a hard time for asking the question. And then you have the WWE PR team saying that they're not going to invite his outlet back because he asked a real question. This is almost like impossible to believe that this can happen.
Right. It's falling into our laps in a way that, because we've been doing this for months on end, talking about these things, years on end, really. We've been talking about these press conferences and the media and whatnot. And it's like these stories are falling into our lap at such rapid succession that it seems implausible that they're as on the nose as they are. You know what I mean? Like it's the WWE PR guy admonishing somebody for asking that question. The media member, the other people, the cosplayers groaning about a real question being asked. All this stuff occurred. It's like, oh my God, it's lining up. It's almost so perfect. Like you wrote that piece a couple of weeks ago about, some of the, here's how the game's played, all that sort of stuff. And then immediately, like hours later, we get the friendlier releases, story out there. And I was like, oh my God, they're playing into our hands. Like, exactly. It's like, come on. It feels, I feel like we should be getting to an inflection point. But like you said, it's not even the most important story of the entire presser. Like the most important, we're going to get to that in a second.
Yeah,
the important story is not the answer that Paul Levesque gave. It wasn't the question that Lucas had. A very reasonable question with people that maybe don't even know what the question was. Is he simply asked, I'm kind of paraphrasing here, and we'll get to some of the specifics of the question itself. If you want to read the exact question, go for it. You got it in front of you. Go ahead.
This is verbatim. Louis Charpier of 10 Count Media. I just wanted to ask you, Fightful and PW Insider reported that Drew Gulak was released by WWE. I just wanted you to clarify on the situation if this was true. And is there anything to do with Ronda Rousey's accusations about sexual assault? And that's where Levesque cuts him off.
Right.
So Lucas asks him, first of all, can you confirm Fightful and PW Insider's reports that Gulak was released? And if he has been released, did it have anything to do with the Ronda Rousey accusations on News Nation? Okay, that was the question that he asked. And English is his second language, and he was very nervous. And he concedes that he probably could have worded it better. I disagree with him. I think
he's fine. Yeah, I saw him apologize. On Pollock and Thurston, he apologized and said, "Oh, my English isn't very good." And it's like, dude, your English is fine. And I think even Brandon was like, "No, Lucas, that's not the reason why all
we
this
all
happened.
Got it.
Your English is fine.
We all understood.
Yeah, it's perfectly okay."
And that was the
look. So your English is better than my French. I'll tell you that. Not Joe's French. Joe's French is fantastic, as we learned about last week.
That's right. That's
right. But my French is terrible. So Lucas, your English a lot better than my French. So don't apologize.
Yeah. So, and that's when Levesque and the key part of his answer, which was, first of all, if you're going to cite news sources, pick good ones. That's where I would start. Credible, really, maybe. Okay, those were Levesque's exact words. And then he trailed off and started talking about why WWE has to cut talent. He basically, at that point, just filibustered why they have to cut talent while completely avoiding the Ronda Rousey part of the question.
Weird, huh?
And
Strange.
then he closed. Yeah, and then after he did this long diatribe about why they have to cut talent, he then closed with, quote, "Can I say that he was released? He was not released. His contract was just not renewed," end quote. Not addressing the second part of the question is the fact that he's no longer with the company because of the Ronda Rousey accusations. Now, look, Levesque is wrong on multiple counts here. Number one, he should not be throwing Fightful and PW Insider under the bus like that and implying that they're not credible. He was wrong for that. He shouldn't do that. Okay. Especially since they're two of the more credible sites in terms of reporting credible news. The second thing this was obviously a clear deflection from the Ronda Rousey portion of the question. He didn't want to touch that. Why? Because they don't want to have to admit that they're getting rid of someone because of something related to sexual misconduct or creepy behavior when they have this lawsuit hanging over their head. So it was a clear deflection by Levesque. The problem is, and you were going to make this point, I'll make it for you and then let you talk about it. Coming out of this now, none of us are talking about that. The story should be the obvious deflection from that question. Great question by Lucas, by the way. The only person who had the guts to ask a real question, and it was a great one. Okay? The story should be Levesque deflecting from that question. The story should be WWE's PR and communication teams and their abhorrent behavior in that room. Intimidating that kid for asking a decent question. Feeding questions to the other house organ losers that were in the room. Okay, these are the kinds of things. These should be what the focus is. But what did the focus turn into? The insecure people at Fightful and PW Insider worrying about their own reputations, and then bragging about the cheese boards they got in the mail. That's what the story ended up being. When the story should be Levesque dodging that fucking question. Because let me tell you something else. Okay? Anyone who thinks that Drew Gulak is not being renewed and being removed from the company. And by the way, as of a couple days ago, he was still with the company. So technically, Fightful and PW Insider did get their stories wrong. He was not released. And that is semantics, okay? Released, contract coming up a couple days later. Either way, the guy's gone.
It's a difference, though. It's a difference, though.
But it is a difference.
Especially in the case of why this guy's been put on ice, because make no question, he was wrestling and in a stable and very active right up until this Ronda Rousey accusation, and now he's not in a stable and no longer active. So I don't know.
That's right. It's a difference, and it's a difference that matters when, as far as we know, the guy is still technically employed with the company. He was, as of when this story broke, he was still employed with the company. So he was not, in fact, released, if we want to get technical on this.
Well, and then there was this weird groundswell where I don't even know where this started, where people were then going over, oh, actually, Drew Gulak was known to be quite rough with trainees and quite rough with other wrestlers. And in fact, that's one of the big reasons why his contract's not getting renewed. And it's like, fuck off with that. He just started getting rough with guys a week ago, and that's when they decided to take him out of the stable and take him off TV.
Yeah.
Like, what the fuck is that?
Corey Brennan of Fightful, who put out a tweet, and I don't know if it's still up, I'm paraphrasing, let me be as clear as possible. Drew Gulak was not released because of Ronda Rousey. He tweeted that. And he wants to be a big time reporter, this kid. Then he has to own what he says. He said, let me be clear. Drew Gulak wasn't released because of Ronda Rousey. And then he did all that follow-up reporting on what you just talked about. Oh, all these stories about Drew Gulak. That is such bullshit WWE PR to sweep the Ronda stuff under the rug. Anyone who thinks, and this includes Corey Brennan, anyone who thinks that Drew Gulak wasn't released because of Ronda Rousey is a fool. You're a naive fool. This guy was on TV getting a push, part of a stable where they were doing a Freebirds gimmick with a title. Okay? A couple days before the Rousey story aired on April 3rd or whatever it was, on like March 30th or something, he had just won a match in NXT. And a week before that, he won a title match on TV. Then the Rousey story breaks, and then we never see him again.
And he's taken off the graphic. He's taken off the graphic, out of the stable, never mentioned again.
He's never mentioned again, except the fact that when they wrote him off, and I don't even think they mentioned him by name when they wrote him off. I could be wrong about that part, because I don't watch NXT because I'm a grown man. I'm an adult. I don't watch that fucking garbage show. But I'm not even positive they mentioned his name when they wrote him out.
If I remember correctly, they did some sort of, we have to, refocus, and we got to be more on.
No, Tony D'Angelo had him whacked is how they wrote him off.
Okay. Yeah, there you go.
And I don't, what I'm saying is, I don't know if they mentioned, I think Tony just said, I made that other problem.
Yeah. They didn't say Drew Gulak is no more. Drew Gulak is out of the group. But no,
that's not even important. That's not even the important part.
No.
The important part is, if you think by sheer coincidence.
Yeah. They just figured out that this guy's a little rough with people.
That this guy was a shithead inside the ring and creepy around people. And by sheer coincidence, that's when they decided to yank him off TV and let his contract run out. Just days after Ronda Rousey went on TV with her story. And you think that's the real reason he's gone, you're a naive fool. You are a naive fool. And you have to, and if you had any sense, you would question why people are telling you that's why he's gone. Because the answer is obvious. Drew Gulak is gone because of what Ronda Rousey said on News Nation. I mean, come on. You can't possibly be more naive to think otherwise. Okay? And to put that out there, I almost feel bad for this kid. He's not getting good guidance. Okay? Take your time with these stories. Think them through.
Think of who's telling you what and why.
Who's telling you and why.
Yes. Who is telling me this and why are they telling me this? About everything. Everything you get, good, bad, whatever. Who is telling me this and why are they telling me that? And who stands to benefit from this being the story that comes out? Think about that before you do anything, before you report anything. And that makes things a lot clearer in the world of journalism. I'll tell you that. Who is telling me and why? That is a very, you'll hear that a 1,000 times. Some form of that idiom will be taught to you by some sort of teacher if you're in any sort of journalism class. Who is telling you this and why are they telling you it? Think about that. Every time.
And why did Drew Gulak never appear on TV again and not even have his name mentioned after the Ronda Rousey story dropped? It's just a coincidence that they then decided all of the other
perfect timing. We were just about to put him off TV for being rough with other NXT wrestlers. Perfect timing.
How convenient. Which, by the way, I don't know who that kid talks to. I don't. Sean says he doesn't talk to PR. Okay, I believe Sean. If he says that kid doesn't talk to, I believe him. But here's the other part of this. Things don't have to come directly from PR to be PR.
No, of course not.
Okay? Things don't have to come directly from the desk of Greg Domino or Chris Legento to be PR. I mean, it's just, I think this kid has this excitement of breaking scoops, and he's high in his own supply and he gets ahead of him. I almost feel bad for this kid to put out that tweet. Oh, I could tell you he didn't get fired. Oh, please. How naive can you be? How naive can you be? You think they would have been giving this guy a push on TV if they knew all along they weren't going to renew his deal?
He won. He won 3 days before the accusation came out.
Yeah. And do you think they just, coincidentally decided that
Michael Hickenbottom woke up one day and said, gosh darn it, I'm sick of this Drew Gulak guy. I'm taking him off TV. I've had enough of him.
But I'm going to tell you this. Because Lucas Sharpio asked that question, what did it do? It ignited and forced Fightful to go back and do follow-up reporting and get the real story.
Huh.
That's how we found out.
Wait a minute.
He hadn't been released.
Wait a minute. Huh. So you're saying here that if we dig into stories a little bit more and spend some time on them, and ask questions of people in power, that maybe we get answers to stuff.
And that's when Fightful reported, actually, he's still employed. He hasn't been released.
Right.
They're letting his contract lapse.
Contrary to what we originally reported or whatever. And whether they got bad information, I'm not on them about that, but we got to the real story. We got to the real story.
Yeah,
that's all that matters.
We got to the real story, and that's all that matters. Thanks to Lucas asking that question to the presser. We know a hell of a lot more about the Drew Gulak situation than we knew before. And again, reporting that he was released versus his contract lapsing, look, you can accept that as semantics. I'll even give the benefit of the doubt on that because your sources might be telling you, oh, he's gone, we're letting him go. Okay. And if he's going to be gone anyway in a few days, it really is just, but in this case, the fact that the guy was still actually employed at the time of this presser and might still be now, I mean, you got it wrong then. He wasn't released. Here's a fact. He was not released. That cannot be disputed. But then we got some follow-up reporting because Lucas asked the question. And I didn't like the way that certain people in the media were finger-wagging Lucas during the first few hours in the aftermath of this. Oh, well, he, finger-wagging him and patting him on the head, being like, oh, well, he learned his lesson. He learned a lesson here. He didn't do anything wrong. He did nothing wrong.
He did zero wrong.
He did zero wrong.
He's one of the few to do things right in this entire space, in this entire time we've had press conferences.
He's got more credibility than the people that were criticizing him. Because these are the same people that are in that room that don't do a good job most of the time. And I'm not even talking about Sean or Mike Johnson. There were other media people finger-wagging this kid, saying that he learned a good thing, he learned his lesson, and all this other nonsense. When he did nothing wrong. Nothing. Levesque was completely out of line for throwing those media entities under the bus and for dodging that fucking question and deflecting. Fightful and PW Insider were completely out of line early on in piling on and giving the kid grief. Now, both of them, Mike Johnson, to his credit, deleted his tweet asking for the apology because he wasn't owed one. Mike Johnson and Sean Ross Sapp, Fightful and PW Insider, were absolutely not owed any apology from this guy. None. And Mike Johnson did delete that tweet, and he did tweet that he talked to the kid and apologized to him. And Mike even said, as I should have. So good for Mike. That was the right thing to do. That was the right thing to do. I'm waiting for some other people to come out publicly and put Lucas Sharpio's name on it and say he didn't do nothing wrong. Put his name on it. If you were one of the ones who dragged this kid through the mud and finger wagged him and patted him on the head and said, oh, you'll learn. Because there were fragile egos more concerned with their own reputations instead of what the real story should have been coming out of this. And this is me editorializing now. People can feel however they want to feel. I don't understand why Fightful or PW Insider would give a fucking shit what Paul Levesque thinks of them. Why do you even care? Why do you care that Paul Levesque says you're not credible? What does it matter what Paul Levesque thinks? And,
I would know if I was doing a good job if he didn't think I was credible, because I'm challenging him and I'm fighting him and I'm challenging him and I'm trying to get to the bottom of why did your wife go away for all these years? Why did you elect Vince back to the board after not electing him back to the, you know what I mean? There's several questions that I would challenge Paul on, to the point where I would be happy to know that he doesn't think I'm a credible source and thinks I'm an asshole and doesn't like me. That'd be good. I would appreciate that.
I would no sell that, number one. But if you must say something, here's all you need to say when Paul Levesque says you're not credible. Here's all I would say. It is disappointing that Paul Levesque chose to take cheap shots at our credibility and the credibility of others in the media. Our work and our reputation speaks for itself. That's it. That's all you need to say.
Done and done.
Done and done. Your work and your reputation speaks for itself. Everybody knows Fightful gets their shit right. Everybody knows PW Insider's reliable. There's no need to be defensive and insecure and soft as bread over this. It's Paul. Who cares what Paul Levesque thinks? What he thinks does not matter. It's what your audience thinks. It's what your customers think. It's what the public thinks. And if you have a track record, it doesn't matter what Paul Levesque says. You can let him play Dana White up there. Who gives a shit? We know that they're clowns. We know Paul Levesque doesn't respect Fightful and PW Insider. And if you think a cheese board changes that, again, you're naive. Paul Levesque wouldn't put these guys out if they were on fire. He'd let them die. He doesn't care about Fightful. You think Paul Levesque respects Sean Ross Sapp or Mike Johnson? He doesn't give a shit. The cheese board was PR. The fucking cheese board was PR. The whole point of the cheese board is so you'd go post it on social media.
Yeah, for people that do not know, WWE sent cheese boards to Sean Ross Sapp and Mike Johnson to apologize for Paul Levesque, saying they weren't credible sources.
With a cute little note, oh, we respect you. And then these guys posted on social media. That's exactly what they want you to do. So the heat is off Levesque for throwing you under the bus to begin with. You should have told him to take his cheese board and go fuck himself.
I did like, did you see Lucas's, they asked Lucas on Polka Thurston, oh, did you get a cheese board? And he said, no, I'm French. I wouldn't accept an American cheese board, which I kind of got a good laugh at that. So that was good. But yeah, it's pretty. I
would be mortified if I got a gift in the mail
with a nice little note. Keep up the good work, Joe. Keep up the good work, Joe. Your friends at WWE, I'd light that shit on fire. Fuck off.
I would be questioning my work. I certainly wouldn't be look, okay. But understand why they sent that to you, because they knew you're gonna put. And then what does it do? It gets
what
the heat off
and why? Who, what, and why? Who, what, and why? Again.
Who, what, and why? Paul's name is right on the fucking note. And then what? And then it does it work? Of course it works. Go read the replies to Sean's tweet or Mike Johnson's Facebook post. Oh, well played. Oh, those are great guys. Oh, that was fun.
Yeah, well played, WWE.
That's the goal.
No answer yet. No answer yet about why Drew Gulak was released or not, contract not renewed. No follow up on the Ronda Rousey story. No, we're talking cheese boards, baby. We're talking well played cheese board. Well played, WWE.
Yeah, we're not concerned with that. We're concerned.
It is well played, and that's the problem. It is well played. You know what's well played? Because no one's talking about the fucking question, and everyone's talking about the goddamn fucking cheese boards.
No one's talking about the behavior.
So it is well
of WWE.
played. It is great played.
It is well played.
It's incredibly well played.
It's definitely well.
It's so well played.
It's deflecting from their behavior in that room. It's deflecting from intimidating that kid in the room. It's deflecting from Levesque, deflecting from the question. Okay? And you are playing right into their hands by making them look like they're sorry. They don't fucking care about you. Maybe the PR arm does because you're useful to them. Levesque doesn't care about you. And to Sean's credit, he said Levesque called him and, off the record, strongly implying that he apologized. He said that WWE PR apologized to him. And to Sean's credit, he said, I don't believe them. Good for him if he still feels that way post-cheese.
Yeah.
Because he shouldn't believe them. He shouldn't believe them.
Right. Why are they sending me cheese? Why are they sending me cheese in a hand note?
It's all a fucking game. It's all PR. And it's becoming crystal clear what, Mike Johnson flipping out on Meltzer for saying he didn't get his press pass for night 1 of Mania because Dave called it a controversy. When Mike Johnson did, in fact, not get the press pass and Meltzer didn't report anything that was false. But Johnson flipping out because he doesn't want his name attached to something called a controversy because he's afraid he's going to upset his WWE masters. And we can the bullshit story that PWI Insider reported about the kinder, gentler releases. It's bullshit.
Well, and this particular story too, in this particular question, the reason that everybody got mad, the reason why Fightful and PW Insider got mad, is because the way that he phrased the question, which again is fine, and anybody who read it and heard the question, it was fine the way he asked it, Lucas, was, according to PW Insider and Fightful, Drew Gulak's been released. Space. Is this, can you confirm that? And blank, blank, blank. Is this because of the Ronda Rousey thing? And they were saying, we never said he was released because of the Ronda Rousey thing. That's not what Lucas said. Lucas said you guys reported that he was released, which you did. You reported that he was released. Lucas then said, was this because of the Ronda Rousey thing? But these guys, again, the problem is it was nice and kind and gentle to report that Drew Gulak got released because the bad guy's gone. Oh, he did a bad thing and he got released from the company. He's gone now. That's the good PR thing. That's the who, what, why. Tell the world Drew Gulak's released. We're doing something about this. This guy's gone. This guy's out of here. So that's why they reported that. They didn't like the fact that they were being looped into, hey, what about the Ronda Rousey thing?
Right.
And is this related to the Ronda Rousey thing? And that's where they get upset. That wasn't
how the question was phrased anyway. But
right.
As I said, to Mike Johnson's credit, he did backtrack on that and he apologized to
you know what? I'm sorry. He doesn't get that because he started the whole fucking thing in the first place. And this is not the first time he's freaked out about something related to this.
Well,
so he doesn't get the benefit of the doubt anymore.
Fightful freaked out more than they did. Fightful freaked out more than they did.
But he still freaked out.
Mike Johnson was, he was looking for an apology. He's like, oh, that's nice that you feel bad, but why haven't you apologized to me?
Yeah, you haven't apologized to me.
Because it's all about these guys and their egos.
Yeah, what are we doing here, man?
And protecting they're just so insecure.
And nobody getting to the bottom of the question. Is Drew Gulak released because of what happened with Ronda Rousey?
Instead, we spent all weekend looking for apologies. And dragging this kid through the mud who did, let me be as clear as I fucking can be. He did zero wrong. Nothing. His question and his behavior was pitch perfect. It's how everyone should be in that room. This 21-year-old.
Well, he had a quote. He had a quote on Pollock and Thurston said, I wasn't paid there to be a fan. I was paid to be a journalist.
There you go.
When I entered that room, I was paid to be a journalist, and I was not paid to be a fan.
And that's the thing. And, he even said, I'm not here to judge anyone else's work, talking about the content creator goofs that are in there. And that was classy of him as well. Okay. Much classier than I've ever been on that topic. And I'm twice his age. But, here's the thing. I understand why WWE wants those clowns in there. It's easy content. It's good for their algorithms. We understand why those people are there. We understand why WWE invites them. Here's the thing, though. The fact that they groaned when he asked that question, and the fact that they gave him a hard time when he left, and the fact that they're giving him a hard time on Twitter, and the fact that he got death threats in his DMs, okay? And those let's separate that. That's not from the content creators. But the fact that these content creators treated him the way that they treated him, okay, that's a fucking joke. If we have to tolerate you in those rooms and the nonsense garbage work that you're doing, then you need to have respect for the real reporters in the room.
Right, and there's more of you, and there's more of you than real reporters. So you know what?
Yeah.
If there's going to be 9 of you in the room, can we have 1 real reporter?
It has to work both ways. It has to. Okay, if we have to tolerate you, you need to respect when real reporters want to ask real questions. And if you don't like it, tell WWE PR to stop inviting people then. And if WWE PR doesn't like people asking real questions, okay, why don't they just blow this whole thing up and do like they did for WrestleMania 7 and just do fake? If it's just supposed to be part of the show, then just make it part of the fucking show. And have fake press conferences with actors in the room. You're half a step there anyway. You're half a step removed anyway. But until you do that, you can't complain when people ask real questions. And I don't know if they felt they could push these people around because they were in France, and it's because Brandon Thurston says they don't push him around. I've never heard John Pollock say they push him around.
Sometimes they don't give him press.
I never heard John.
Sometimes they don't invite him to the room.
Alba.
Sometimes they don't invite Pollock to the room, but yeah.
Well, right, except when they're not inviting him. Exactly. I've never heard John Alba say they push him around, but they push these people around in France. They fed questions in France. That's deplorable. And, they just shouldn't have don't invite media then if you want to certain questions answered, just make the whole thing part of the show. Remove all fucking doubt. But they don't want that. They want these outlets feeding the algorithms and blasting their content everywhere. And they tolerate the few real media that get in there because they know it's a real bad look if all they invite are the content creators.
Right. Then people stop caring. Then people just stop caring to him.
That's right.
About him.
That's why Brandon's in that room, and that's why Brandon gets a question every time, because he's like, and I don't mean this in a derogatory way, and I understand that he knows this. He's like their token serious guy. We'll let Brandon Thurston ask a question because he's going to ask a business question or a hard question.
He's a serious person that's going to ask a serious, well thought out question.
And it allows them to say, oh, see, this is legitimate. And I'm glad that they do that. And I'm glad that Lucas got a question in among the other shit. But just an embarrassing situation all around. Okay, now we have 3 cheese board guys.
Yeah, we can't say cheese board guy anymore. We can't say it anymore. Cheese board guy is done.
I mean, I don't know. I don't know what's going through Mike Johnson's head I don't know what's going through Sean's head when they think that that's cute and I don't know. I can't speak for them. I'm sure I'll hear from them, but I can't speak for them. I don't know. Look, those guys report news and real news. Okay. What we do, half of our show is a giant shitpost. We have fun here. When we have to be serious, we'll analyze stuff. Okay. We're more analysts than we are newsbreakers. We do news sometimes. I did reporting right here that I'm talking about on this Backlash press conference story. But those guys are real news. They, more than anyone, shouldn't be taking a gift and like making and chuck joking about it. I wouldn't even do that. And half of our show is just a giant shitpost. And I would feel fucking gross about them sending me a gift and a fake apology. I just don't get it. I don't understand. Is this thing a lost cause, Rich? Is it a lost fucking cause? I mean, do I have to start naming people who
know what? I don't think it's a
fucking cheese plate on their. Do I have to start naming the people who would never do that?
You know what? I don't know that it's a fully lost cause because I'm starting to see a little bit more of a groundswell of people fighting back against it. Not enough people, but enough people. I think, like I said, the thing of a couple of weeks ago when you wrote that piece over at flagshippatreon.com talking about the WWE PR strategy, and then following up an hour later, WWE with the kind of friendly releases or whatever, I saw people saying, oh, here we go. And I'm starting to see it outside of our bubble as well. We even got quote tweeted not that long ago. So we posted a video on our YouTube last week. We posted this segment where we were talking about AEW's, creative vision and the elite storyline or whatever. And some guy quote tweeted us and said, these guys just want to ask Big Nose a question at the next press conference or whatever. And then they used a Rich Latta, who, by the way, does the introduction for this podcast. They added a Rich Latta who does the music for the Brett versus Owen series on our Patreon, who has been on this show before.
Close pal. Close pal, both of us.
Guest host earlier this year. That long ago.
He's been a host here.
I met him numerous times, and used an image of him saying "legental," behavior. I forget exactly what the wording was or whatever.
His tweet has become the meme,
right? His which is great for him. But this guy quote tweeted us earnestly saying, "Oh, these guys just want to get in the room," and using legit. So it's getting out of our bubble because this idiot, this guy who quote tweeted us, has no idea that we are the ones who started. He would not. He would know the name Chris Legental if it wasn't for you.
No, he is quote tweeting us criticizing AEW by saying that we are doing WWE PR for Chris Legental.
Yes.
When we're the ones who who explained to everyone who Chris Legental was to begin with. Do people see how stupid Twitter is now and why it's a waste of everybody's time?
There is no better representation ever in the history of Twitter than that guy quote tweeting us saying these guys just want to get in the room and ask Big Nose a question and using the Rich Latta image of legental behavior.
Yeah, legental activity.
Or legental activity. Using it to dunk on us. Using the guy who does our podcast intro, who earlier this year was a guest host on the show, who has been listening to the show forever. We've been on his show. We've met him in real life. He does podcast intros for stuff on our Patreon.
He's on all of our shows. He does the fucking intro.
Right. Using that to dunk on us perfectly encapsulates Twitter. There it is right there, folks.
That person doesn't know that's us. But that's a reflection of how bad Twitter is because everyone is assumed to be on a side. So because we put out a video that was critical of AEW, we are automatically assumed to be like WWE goons in the pocket of WWE. Rich, next week we'll put out a video being critical of WWE, and we'll be getting it from the other side.
Oh, how does Tony Khan's dick taste?
Right. And that's my point. Like, that's a badge of honor. That's a fucking badge of honor when you get it from both sides. And it should be a badge of honor when Levesque shits on you. You should laugh that off. You should no-sell it. Who cares what he thinks? He doesn't respect you. So who cares what he thinks? You can't get wrapped up in that. You can't be concerned with it. You can't be concerned with trolls taking advantage of that to dunk on you. Who cares? It doesn't mean anything. That's a whole different conversation.
Right. But I was saying, though, it's getting outside of our bubble, which I think is good. But the problem that I don't want to happen, and I fear will happen because this is what modern society does, is now nobody trusts any news. And
everything's fake news.
Everything's fake news. Everything's garbage. Everything, and that's not,
which is bullshit.
Yeah, that's bullshit, and that's not at all what we're trying to say, or anybody that's Pollock and Thurston that are also fighting this fight as well, and David Bixton's band who's been writing some stuff about this as well. That's not what any of us. That's not the goal. Is to say, oh, everything is fake news. Don't believe anything. That's not the goal. Like, that's not what we're trying to do. What we're trying to say is just when you read something, think about it a little bit. Think about where it's coming from. Who, what, why. Again, who, what, why. And ask more of your news sources and say, who did this come from? Where did you get this from? Follow up.
Why?
Do a little bit more work on this.
When there's a story that says that the releases are kinder and gentler now versus the other regime, think before just taking that at face value, think who would want you to think that and why they would want you to think that. Look to see who that story is sourced to. Oh, nobody? How convenient. There's one person that was released that can speak to the releases from the old regime and the current regime, and that's Jinder Mahal. Was he cited as a source in that story, Rich?
He was not.
Okay. That's the only person that would know the difference. I encourage anyone in the media to ask Jinder Mahal what he thinks of being fired under the old regime and this regime. Ask him. Because maybe the story is accurate. Maybe it's not. I don't fucking know. I have my suspicions. I have what I think. The thing about it is, and I can't stress this enough, it's not even wrong to get stories from PR. Just say that's where you got it from. And then nobody can complain. according to a WWE PR source, and then whatever the story is. Then we know. But see, they don't want you doing that. They insist on it being on background. Tell them to shove it up their ass. I could tell you, I know of a reporter who has been asked to do that, who just refuses, and they just doesn't report. He just, that's it. No, I'm not going to do that. But it takes some conviction to do that. I get it. It's not easy to get information in wrestling. But if stories are properly cited and people know where they're coming from, there's no way that the issue's gone, Rich. Anything else on this dumpster fire of a situation?
No, I got nothing else. It's
You gonna hide from your phone for 4 days now?
kind of. Yeah.
Whatever. I mean,
You know, no, not really. I don't even check it anymore. I sometimes it pops up. Sometimes the bubble pops up, and I just go, man, I got other things to do.
The immediate aftermath I thought was a disgrace all around.
Yeah.
I look, Mike Johnson did the right thing. Me and you differ slightly, I guess. I give Johnson credit.
He did the right
for
thing
publicly
only after a couple of hours and a couple of days of not doing the right thing. So I don't know. I can't. I struggle with the right thing given his reaction in the immediate aftermath.
Okay, well, I understand. We'll differ slightly on it. I think at the end of the day, all that matters is you do the right thing. That's my stance on it. I thought it was a clear apology to and he said he said all the right things. He sent the wolves at him.
After he sent the wolves at him, though.
I get it.
After the wolves have ripped apart his body and all that's left is a skeleton, then he goes, "Oh, I'm sorry." Nah, the wolves are eating his fucking body.
I understand where you're coming from.
Yeah, no.
Right, I get it. I understand. The immediate reaction from both of those outlets should have been very clear. Lucas Charpier said nothing wrong. He asked a good question. None of this is his fault. And then attack Levesque if you want. Because Levesque was out of line. But it was the defensiveness early on. Oh, we didn't say it was about Rousey. Yeah, neither did the kid. But I think both of the outlets now understand that. And they both have backtracked. But you're right. It was the first couple hours was deplorable. It was deplorable. And I hate the finger wagging and patting the kid on the head when he's more professional than the people that are doing that to him. In most cases. But, I think Sean's been better about it in the last few days. I think he's been better about it now that he's, taken a step back, really understood what the kid asked. But I think everybody looked terrible initially. And I think there's big stories here that are getting underplayed, and it's just it makes me lose faith that it's ever going to get better. I don't know, but you're right. It is escaping the bubble. Maybe people just have to keep pushing on it.
All right. Well, there you go. So again, we had insurrection.
I've been writing about it for months.
We've been talking about it for years. You've been writing about it for months.
About it for months.
Yep.
Because Rich, we have nothing to lose. I want nothing from WWE. I've never asked anything of WWE.
We need nothing.
I don't care what they think of me. I can do what I do without them. And it'll be that way forever. I could do what I do without any of these companies. You know that.
And none of them talk to us. So it's pretty
That's
good.
fine. I don't care.
Yeah, we're good. Yeah, it's fine.
It doesn't matter. Like,
right.
it's nice if they do. I don't need it. It's not required for me to do what I do. We keep growing either way. I don't care. But we got a lot of actual wrestling.
We do have a lot of actual wrestling to get to. Again, Flagship, patreon.com, instant reaction for Backlash France if you want our breakdown of the show itself. We also had a bunch of other stuff this weekend and this week as well. You concluded your elusive Kurt Angle 5-star match project, the final analysis. Did Kurt Angle have a 5-star match? You watched several different Kurt Angle matches to determine once and for all if Kurt Angle was deserving. 13 matches in total if Kurt Angle was deserving of a 5-star match. You'll have to read the final analysis to see if it's true or not.
Yeah, I watched his top 10 rated matches on Cage Match, and then I watched 2 additional TNA matches recommended by the foremost expert of TNA history, Garrett Kidney. So he gave me 2 more TNA matches to watch, and then I watched Angle's his highest rated non WWE or TNA match, which ended up being Yuji Nagata from Wrestle Kingdom 2. So I watched 13 total matches with the objective of, let's come into this with a clean slate, an open mind, watch 13 of Kurt Angle's best matches, and let's see if he ever did in fact have a 5-star match or not. And there's thousands of words. I don't know the word count, but they're not drive-by reviews. They're not, I'm not just listing moves. I mean, these are, I think the reviews are pretty deep. People have said that they want me to do this for other wrestlers. I don't know if I'm going to commit to that. We'll see. But yeah. And then, the final analysis, did Kurt Angle ever actually have a 5-star match? I don't know. You got to read the piece.
So that's up there right now, flagshippatreon.com. I did my most recent Brett versus Owen episode, April 1994, WrestleMania Hangover, talking about the 30-year anniversary of the Bret Hart versus Owen Hart feud from WWF in 1994. We're going month by month through SummerSlam, so that April 1994 episode just dropped last week. I also did a written piece about the 40-year anniversary of Kerry Von Erich defeating Ric Flair to win the NWA title. A little bit of history of that. If you watch the Iron Claw, you might know a little bit about that story, but a little bit of the background of the Von Erichs, a little bit of background of Ric Flair at that time, a little bit of a background on what was supposed to happen in that match and what did actually happen, and then the aftermath and all that sort of stuff. But yeah, the 40th anniversary, 40 years this week, Kerry Von Erich defeated Ric Flair to win the NWA title. So I have a written piece about that. You have your Thursday Dynamite review, instant reaction lives. We always are doing those for the big shows, big pay-per-views coming up. Thursday Dynamite reviews, instant reaction, Backlash France. All that stuff is available. The Lucas piece that we just talked about as well. The deep dive and the research into what was happening at the press conference. All that is available at flagshippatreon.com. $1 tier, $5 tier, or $10 tier. $5 tier gets you all of our bonus audio. $10 tier gets you all of our live stuff, bonus audio, written pieces, all other stuff. $1 trial tier gets you some content here and there, some trickles of content a couple times a month. And we also have a free tier as well. If you can't afford it right now, we also post some stuff for free occasionally, but that keeps you abreast of what we're doing on the Patreon every single month as well. So if you say, hey, look, I can't afford it this month, there's nothing I really love this month, but I want to know, when the stuff that I do like is going to come, you get onto that free tier and you'll get notifications occasionally of when we are posting stuff. And then you might say, okay, now I'm in. This sounds good to me. I want to be in. And that's when you can then jump on to the $5 tier or the $10 tier or the $1 tier if you want as well. So that's all available over there at flagshippatreon.com. All right, let's get into the actual world of wrestling, actual in-ring wrestling here. Where do you want to start? We got ML Dub, we got All Japan, we got Dragongate, we got Noah, we got New Japan. We can go all different directions. I'll let you lead the way. Where do you want to start?
Well, I didn't watch 1 second of the Dontaku shows, unfortunately. Those are the only shows I didn't get to. I watched everything else top to bottom. I had a crazy week here. The girl has so many fucking activities, and there was a lot of wrestling to get to. So unfortunately, I didn't get to any of the New Japan yet. So we probably push that to the back of the show since you're the only one who saw it. She had her fucking little Olympics the other day with her 100-meter dash.
Oh,
today she
Olympics.
Had her musical, her little play with her that she did. So I've been, all on top of the gymnastics and everything else. So it's been a wild ride over here. I got everything watched with the exception of the New Japan. So I think it would probably make more sense to push that to
Sounds good.
The back of the show.
Let's do that. You want to talk Noah? Let's talk Noah. I was kind of energized by this Noah show. This was May 4th. Wrestle Magic. They were in Sumo Hall. 3,512 people for Sumo Hall. Probably not a great number for.
You don't think that, I mean, from modern. Okay,
I guess we have to readjust what we think of modern Japanese wrestling numbers. I think that's probably what we have to do.
Look, I don't think you're doing cartwheels over 3,500, but I don't think this was a disastrous number or anything for this show. It's a El Hijo del Dr. Wagner Jr. main event. And they did 3,500 people in the current Pearl climate where nobody's drawing. I don't know. I don't think it's a terrible number.
But the show itself, again, May 4th, if you want to watch it on Wrestle Universe. I think this is an additional pay-per-view on Wrestle Universe if you want to watch it there. But the main event. Let's start with the main event. I think that's probably the way to start. And then
By the way, if you're a subscriber to Wrestle Universe, they sent me an email today saying that you can get it at a discount. It's 1,000 yen now, which is like $7 or something.
I think that's right.
I don't know what the original price was.
I think it was
the original. It's like $7-8.
Yeah, it was like, I want to say it was $15, 24, somewhere in that range. I think.
Right.
To
discount
to buy it originally, but it's interesting that we're doing more just full on pay-per-views on Wrestle Universe. I think that's.
Oh, we knew that slippery slope.
Oh yeah, we saw New Japan kind of dip their toes in the water, and now Noah did it as well, where it's like, oh yeah, you can get most Noah
what
shows.
This tells you too is if what it also tells you is they just tip their hand. If you wait a few days, the price comes down to 1,000 yen. So
it's true.
You know, if you don't need to see it immediately,
wait a couple minutes and
you might get that discount email.
Definitely. They've also added, again, we talked about as well for Wrestle Universe, then we'll get into the show itself. We talked about a couple of weeks ago how Michinoku Pro and Real 01 are also on Wrestle Universe. They now have a section for the new Marigold as well. The Rasiagawa new Joshi promotion has a little slot there on Wrestle Universe as well. And I don't know if I don't know if it's confirmed that all their shows are going to be on Wrestle Universe or just some of the shows or whatever. I haven't fully jumped into the world of Marigold, obviously, but they now have a tab on Wrestle Universe, and they had a match obviously on this show as well. But we'll start with the main event and then kind of work our way through the rest of the show. So the main event was the GHC Heavyweight Title match. Kaito Kiyomiya defeating El Hijo del Dr. Wagner Jr. to win back the GHC Heavyweight Title. Another reign for Kaito Kiyomiya. He comes into this reign now, I think, very clearly the top guy in Noah. Very clearly a main eventer. Very clearly a guy who has a lot of confidence. Very clearly a guy who is a much better wrestler than he was the prior times that he's been the GHC Heavyweight Champion. So I thought this match was really good. I was a big fan. I'm all in on Kaito. I think he's great now. I think he's really, really tremendous these days. So yeah, I thought this was great. I mean, it sucks to have Dr. Wagner lose the title here, but I think if anybody was going to beat him, Kaito Kiyomiya is the right guy to beat him. And I thought he finally, after all these years, and we've been on the show many times over and talking about how he's not ready and not the guy quite yet, and even when he was the guy, he was getting just overshadowed by Muto and it feels like definitively at this point he is the guy. He feels like a fully formed dude. He's got a ton of confidence. I think his wrestling ability is way better than it was a couple years ago. He's the guy, and he's the ace of Noah right now, and he's back to being the GHC Heavyweight Champion, and I think that's the best move for all parties involved. But first off, what did you think of the match? Then we can talk a little bit about Kaito in this spot now and where he where he fits in the landscape.
I thought it was an excellent match. Do you want my super spicy, super hot take on this?
Yeah, let's
Maybe
do
not
that.
so much on the show, but I've got a scorcher here. I think that, first of all, I thought this show was fucking incredible. This is one of the best shows all year. I can't praise this show enough. It had, not only did it have great matches up and down the card, but it had variety. You got everything on this fucking show. You had the Suji Ishikawa Ninja Mack opener for the hardcore title where you had your plunder, and that was awesome. I don't know what you thought of that match. We'll get to it next, but I thought it was fucking awesome. Great. You had the incredible Takashi Sugiura Masaki Tamiya match, which, I mean, that's a match of the year contender. I mean, they just fucking destroyed each other. That was the way that's pro wrestling I can get behind. I mean, you can't do that kind of match every night, but on a big show like this, two guys just beating the living shit out of each other, violence, nastiness. So you had that style of match. You had the MMA style tag, right? You had the junior title match. Rich, is Daga the most improved wrestler?
Oh my God. My notes say, Joe, we got to spend at least 10 minutes apologizing to Daga. No, we don't have to apologize. No, he's gotten bad. It's like, we don't have to apologize for how bad he's gotten. We just need to address how good he's gotten, because he's like really good now. He's like really, really, really fucking good. He's great. I love watching Daga matches now. What happened overnight?
You had, and we'll talk about all these matches. Don't, everyone, we're not blowing through it. We're going to talk about the show. You had Alpha Wolf and Dragonbane, who are legitimate tag team of the year contenders, just killing it again.
Yeah,
How
they
great are
rock.
those fucking
They rock.
guys?
They rock.
They're so good. Okay. You had guests coming in from other companies and doing the JOBs to the Noah guys, which is the way it should be.
Not every guest doing JOBs. Some guests.
Well, yeah, well. But which one are you talking about? Because
Tajiri, man.
oh yeah, well that fucking yeah, we'll get to that. Not everything was a winner on this show, but and then you had the epic world title style main event with the title change and the title back on Kaito Kiyomiya. You talked about it. This show was not only a great show, it had so much variety. So here's my spicy hot take. If, every now and then we have listeners or if someone asked me today, Joe, I really want to get into Japanese wrestling, where should I start? I would say Pro Wrestling Noah Wrestle Magic 2024 on May 4th. Get yourself a Wrestle Universe subscription and lock into that show, because Pro Wrestling Noah has been the best wrestling promotion in Japan this year. And that show had variety, it kicked ass, and there's no way a wrestling fan could watch that show and not find something to sink their teeth into. I would not direct them to New Japan. Not a fucking chance.
Oh, God. Trust me. Dontaku would not redirect you to New Japan. Let me tell you that. We'll talk about it later. No.
Yeah. I would not direct them to All Japan. No disrespect to All Japan. It's a little too... Noah's just more exciting right now. Okay?
It's just the variety. I like All Japan Pro Wrestling, but you need to be into Japanese pro wrestling to start watching All Japan Pro Wrestling. It's very much
that would not be my rec.
If you get it, you get it. If you don't get it, it might be tough. Where Noah is like a real true variety show right now in all the ways. It's in terms of like the wrestlers too, because you got old guys, you got young guys, you got luchadors, you got shooters, you got big strong dudes with big chests chopping each other. You got a lot of variety on these shows right now. This show had the Joshi influence as well, where you had the Marigold people in there as well, so it had everything. It was everything all in one.
I would not direct them to Dragon Gate. We'll talk about that later. I had no problem with that show, but you can't just drop into that. Yeah, I would not send people to Dragon Gate. And here's the other thing about Noah. The production values
looks phenomenal.
Yeah, if you're introducing somebody to Japanese wrestling, are you sending them to AJPW.TV or are you sending them to Wrestle Universe and Noah's production? And right off the bat, it feels major league. Their production matches anyone from WWE, AEW on down. The production is that good in Noah right now on Wrestle Universe. So you got crystal clear fucking 1080p HD. It looks like 1080 HD. That's all that really matters, whether it is or not. Okay? Top of the industry production and bells and whistles, so you feel like you're watching something major league, which is a barrier if you're just parachuting into something. Let's be honest. And then this show fucking rocked. And this is not an anomaly. Noah has all of a sudden, it was like All Japan last year, where it just, from the start of the year, All Japan was like, whoa, something's happening here. This is such an improvement from 2022. That's what's going on in Noah. Last year was like a funeral, these fucking shows. This year, Noah just feels so vibrant.
Well, the crowd is good too. The crowd was really into this show. The crowd was very happy with a lot that was happening in the show as well.
Yeah, because the shows are great now.
Yeah.
So that's my spicy one. If someone said, where do I start? I would direct them right to Pro Wrestling Noah right now. And I imagine me saying that last year. Not a fucking chance. So anyway, yeah, the main event, you talked about it. Look, I'm watching the match and I'm thinking to myself as they hit the, closing stretch, Wagner 3, if he would have beaten Kiyomiya, it really would have put a stamp on his title reign that I don't think he ever really got. But so in a way I was pulling for him, but it was the right move going back to Kiyomiya. It was time. The company feels like it's moving in a positive direction. He's over with the fans in the buildings. And Wagner 3, I mean, I like the guy. He really grew on us over the last few years. While his title reign didn't really have a lot of meat on the bones, I love watching him as a performer, but Kiyomiya obviously is the guy that they have to make work if they're going to turn their business all the way around. It's not Wagner 3. So from that standpoint, they made the right choice. I can live without all the Keiji Muto cosplay. I can live without all the Keiji Muto.
I got it.
Bullshit.
That's the one thing I have to say. I love this match, and I love Kaito Kiyomiya's performance in it. Maybe the best performance I've ever seen from the guy who now feels like he feels like a main eventer. Right? He's conducting himself like they always felt like a kid that was scared, a kid that was never quite believed in himself. The company never quite felt like they believed in him, and he kind of gave that back a little bit too in terms of never feeling like he had a ton of confidence. He has a ton of confidence. The guy, he's there. He's fully formed as a main event wrestler, as as an ace or whatever. We got to lose the Muto shit though. You know what I mean? I can't. And maybe this is a me and you thing because we're more down on Muto than a lot of other guys. We got to lose the fact that you win matches because you do Muta stuff. I get that it's like, oh, he won, he learned that from Muta. He did it. But like doing the Muta finger things, it's all like a little too on the nose. Be yourself. Be the first Kaito Kiyomiya.
When is he going to be Kaito Kiyomiya?
Yeah. Be you. You are now an ace. Be an ace. Don't worry about these other guys. Don't and then Muto coming in after the match and giving him the stamp of approval, patting him on the head. You've done good, kid. Nah, enough of this shit, man. You are Kaito Kiyomiya. You're the ace.
I didn't like that.
Yeah.
But think how that would have come across if Kiyomiya just would have beat his ass the last 3 times they wrestled and beat him in the middle.
Right.
Then I wouldn't have a problem with the endorsement. My problem with the endorsement is they essentially went 50-50 in their feud, which was horseshit. And when's he just going to be Kaito Kiyomiya, his own man, his own ace? Okay, Muto is the fucking let's just put him out the pasture. I thought he's gone. First it was cosplaying Misawa the first time around. Then later on it's Muto. At least Misawa has the roots in Noah. At least that was Misawa's company. Muto's a musketeer from fucking New Japan. God damn it, Semp won. 25 years later, Mike Sempervivi's
won, yeah.
And the fucking Strong Style guys.
Did he win though this week? Good plug for a 5-star match game this week on the Voice Wrestling Podcast Network. Joe Gagney, his Pro Wrestling Trivia Show, welcomed on Mike Sempervivi, Dr. Keith, and Case to talk about 2000s Puro. Mike Sempervivi may have won with the Three Musketeers in the Strong Style, but did he win this week on the 5-star match game? Listen and find out.
God damn it, I was always a green ring guy. And now we got our GHC champion idolizing Muto instead of Misawa. This hurts my soul, Rich. But he shouldn't be idolizing anyone at this point.
No, he should be the first Kaito Kiyomiya. Yeah, he shouldn't be cosplaying anybody.
He's 27 years old. He's not fucking 20 anymore. You're a grown-ass man. So that was the only aspect of it. The match was fantastic. I mean, Wagner, he's got more charisma than people think.
He's pretty good. He's pretty good.
He's fucking good, and we saw him kind of rise up the card. It's a nice story, He organically rose up the card, won the title. Was that part of the deal to resign? I don't know. Wouldn't be the first time in wrestling. It's possible, but who cares?
It wasn't unearned. It wasn't unearned, though. He never felt like, oh my God, this
totally
guy's your champion. No. What are you doing? That's the dude that you put
it's
the title on?
Mildly surprising.
A little mildly, but sometimes that's good. Sometimes you got to elevate a guy, and they did. I feel like this guy's in the mix now forever.
Yeah, for sure. Oh, yeah. He's a credible potential champion.
And he played a good heel in this match, too. There was one point early in the match where Kiyomiya knocked him outside the ring, and as Wagner is selling outside the ring, he's starting a Mexico chant. He got knocked out of the ring, and then he's going Viva Mexico, and everyone's going Viva Mexico, and I'm like, brother, you got knocked out of the ring. What are you doing? But it was good. It played up to he played a little bit more of the cocky, confident asshole in this match, whereas Kiyomiya was a little bit more of the babyface until about halfway through the match, where Kiyomiya then was like, wait, hold on a minute, I got this guy, and then just started kind of systematically taking them apart, and then they threw bombs at each other back and forth or whatever. But what I love about this match is like 20 minutes, 24 minutes or whatever. They didn't overstay their welcome. They didn't do one of these fucking 39-minute New Japan main events that we see every single goddamn time now because Okada did it well, so now we think that everybody has to do them. It's like, get in and get out, man. Throw your bombs, tell your match, let's go. Don't waste everyone's time. And they didn't. It was, what was the exact time? Let me see if I can get the exact time on this match. 24 minutes and 45 seconds. That's more than enough. More than enough, man. We don't need to be flirting with 30, 35, 40 minutes with these main events. Unless you got a good story to tell, you can have it. But not every main event needs to be 40 minutes.
Yeah, no, it's it was a great match to cap off a great show. We'll go back to the top now. Did you watch the rest of the show or no?
I did. I saw of it. I've seen every match.
You saw the show.
Yep.
Okay. So we watched a lot of wrestling this week.
I saw
getting
a lot.
What you watched and what you didn't.
Yeah.
This Suji Ishikawa Ninja Mack match. I mean, did you like this as much as I did? I thought this fucking rocked.
And like on paper, if I just told you out of context, Suji Ishikawa versus Ninja Mack, let's say last year we were previewing Noah's show, and I went, Joe, Noah, great voyage, and da 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 da. And I said, Suji Ishikawa, Ninja Mack. Yeah, and you'd go, what? I don't know, Rich. I don't know. You know
what I would do? I'll tell you what I would do though. I'd rub my chin.
I'd like to see it. I want to see how they'll do that. I want to see what they'll do there.
I would picture the best possible version of that match, and that's exactly what we got.
Yeah, and what we got here was the best possible version of Suji Ishikawa versus Ninja Mack. No, it fucking rocked. It ruled.
I haven't enjoyed Suji Ishikawa this much since like 2021. I mean, yeah, it was a hardcore match, so they had the bells and whistles, the shortcuts and everything. So what, though?
So what?
You know what I mean? Like, it's Suji Ishikawa and Ninja Mack.
It needs some shortcuts. Yeah, it needs.
Yes.
I didn't need to see them wrestling, a ground game. Yeah, I need top wrist lock on a Ninja Mack.
Wrist lock and a test of strength. Fuck that. He did that. The big dog. He does that. The original big dog, by the way.
The real big dog. Yeah, the real big dog.
The original the OG big dog. He does that sit out tombstone pile driver gimmick. And he did it through the table that was draped between the apron and the fucking. Oh my God! I thought Ninja Mack was dead. And believe me, I've seen Ninja Mack die many times, both in fucking Texas and in Japan and everywhere else. I thought Ninja Mack was fucking dead when he hit him with that pile drive. Then that spot off the ladder that I can't even describe. Ninja Mack is a fucking maniac.
He's so good at Noah too. He's so good at Noah.
He's so good. Does he say no to any spot? I don't think he does. He'll fucking do anything.
That is gonna work for me, brother. That is that works, brother. Let's do it.
God damn it! I want a rematch. I want Ninja Mack going back for that title.
I want this tour of the country. I want these guys facing each other 10 times this year.
Bring Suji Ishikawa to the Tin Can Houston Premier Sports Arena, and JL will come out of his hole and do Ninja Mack Suji Ishikawa for me. Biss, are you listening? Talk to your guys at New Texas Pro. Get the big dog over here and give me the GHC Hardcore Openweight title rematch that Texas deserves. Ninja Mack versus Suji Ishikawa in that fucking storage shed in Houston. That's where I want it too. That's nice and grimy. Okay? With the little dirty bathroom that everyone has. Yeah. That's where
Doesn't
I
have
want
a dirty
match.
bathroom. I mean, I'm not surprised it has a dirty bathroom, but that makes sense.
You remember what I wrote about that?
Oh yeah.
Right? I mean, that building. Yeah.
It looks like a great place to watch wrestling. Not in the summer. It looks very hot in the summer, but
not in the summer. It's It's a literal fucking storage shed.
But I kind of appreciate it. I kind of like the look and the feel of shows that happen there.
Rich, when you pull up, the road is unpaved. There's like literal lakes of water. There's feral dogs running around, like feral fucking dogs, like around the premises, right? There's a bar on the corner, like a dive bar. So there's like ne'er-do-wells and drunks like staggering around the fucking streets. There's broken down school buses on the premises. Who knows what's going on inside of those school buses?
Is that the locker room? Is that not the locker room?
It's not the locker room.
Okay.
It's not the locker room. But yeah, I heard they moved the Texas Indie Showcase to a different building though. So they're not using the storage shed anymore.
Oh.
Starboy Charlie and Titus Alexander. Tim Dog's boys here against Daiki Inaba and Rohei Oiwa. I thought the West Coast guys look great here. This wasn't like a 5-star classic, but it wasn't supposed to be. It was supposed to be a showcase to get those guys in the mix. I think they're at the Marvelous Dojo.
Yes.
Isn't that a women's promotion?
It is.
I don't understand.
Yeah, I don't understand how it's working either. But yeah, they're working with the Marvelous promotion.
But they're working Noah shows. So and it's not a one-off. I got tipped off to this months ago that they were going to be, working Noah shots. And I thought they came across very well here. I don't have much more to add. I really want to get to this Masa Kitamiya.
Yeah, let's just get right to that. Yeah, let's talk about this match. I can't wait.
You want to go first? I mean, it's just,
first off, I see right now this has a 7.5 on Cage Match. Fuck that. No.
Oh, eat shit.
Eat shit. Every one of you that rated this anything less than a 9.
That's 4.5 minimum.
Yeah.
4.5 star
nobody
match.
Nobody went 9
minimum.
and nobody went 10. Fuck all of you. You're all wrong.
Yeah.
You're
what were you watching?
Wrong. One guy rated it as a 5. One sec. What's this fucker?
Come on.
Okay, well he wrote it in German, so I can't really I don't know what he said. I could
go. You know those Germans. They're tough critics.
I can't trust them.
Yeah.
Quote: It wasn't my kind of wrestling, but it wasn't just strikes. Definitely a good match, especially if you like the style. Unfortunately, a shoot headbutt, which also results in a laceration, drags the match down a little bit. You know what?
Okay, so he's a safety nerd.
I disagree. Off-Roadiker. That's his username. I think I'm pronouncing it right. You know what? The fucking shoot headbutt fucking rots. Not my body.
Yeah.
Masa Kitamiya's body, man.
Head.
So this match starts. These bulls come to the ring. It's Masa Kitamiya, Takashi Sugiura. They come to the ring, snorting and snarling and drooling. Bell rings. Immediately they run at each other. Fucking bulls. Running at each other, striking each other. And then for the next 9 minutes and 57 seconds, these men didn't stop beating the living fuck out of one another. Just bomb after bomb, chop after chop, strike after strike. Sometimes you get a submission for a second, but then it was like, nah, you know what? I'm just going to beat this guy in his head again and see what's going to happen. All leading to Masa Kitamiya picking up Sugiura, hitting him with a headbutt, and his fucking forehead gushing with blood. But you know what? It fucking worked because then he pinned the dude. And he pinned him.
Even without that spot, this was a great match.
Yeah, you didn't need the shoot headbutt. Now, was it better that he's fucking bleeding a bucket when it's over? Yeah, it was fucking great. Not my body, man. I don't care.
You know, Takashi Sugiura, I think everyone who's familiar with him recognizes that he's great, right? Now,
yes.
When have you met someone when have you talked to someone who's like,
everybody who knows him, everybody who has watched any of his matches with it, all thinks he's great.
He's like universal. No one's like, Sugiura stinks.
Yeah,
no one thinks
or like, meh, I don't know. It's like, he's fine.
But even with that said, he's 53 years old. He's been wrestling since 2000.
He's massively underrated.
And he was a junior at one point. He is massively underrated historically. He is a one promotion wrestler for the last 25 years. And when has he not had like a good year at minimum? I mean, the guy has just always been a great pro wrestler. And whenever they give him the ball, he delivers. When Noah was having some real lean years, whenever they would give him the ball and strap him up, business would improve. We used to talk about it all the time, relative to what they were doing. I'm not suggesting he's like a Hall of Fame level draw or any, because he's not. But relative to the business that they had done over, like he would bump things up when Noah was struggling. And he's been there for 25 years and he's always been great. And he's just a badass motherfucker. The likes of which we don't have enough in wrestling.
We don't have
enough Takashi Sugiura.
We don't have enough of this match. And that's my notes from this match say this used to be the template for a lot of Japanese wrestling that you would watch was two dudes getting there, bell rings, they run at each other, and they beat the shit out of each other for 9 to 10 minutes, and then it's over, and then it's done. And that you still watch a lot. Big Japan Pro Wrestling used to be filled with it. The strong division of Big Japan Pro Wrestling used to be filled with it. Noah used to be filled with it. Classic, a lot of strong style 90s New Japan was a lot of this, where bell would ring, guys would just go at each other, and it was like one guy was determined to beat the other guy to prove that he was better than the other guy. And it was just that simple. And it wasn't as much. You didn't need a House of Torture in there. You didn't need to go rote wires. You didn't have to have a bunch of run-ins. You didn't have to have guys do tests of strength and long, drawn-out, sleeper holds because that's how you work, buddy, and that's how you work, pal, and that's, it's heel heat because I got him in a sleeper hold, and, it's got to be this big back-and-forth epic or whatever, and it's got to be this 35, 45-minute epic. Sometimes, man, bell ring, 10 minutes, beat the fuck out of each other. One guy wins, one guy loses. Sometimes that used to happen a lot more in wrestling, and there used to be a lot more guys that could do that style in wrestling. And we're getting further and further and further away from it, and there's very few guys that can do it anymore. Masa Kitamiya is what? He's in his 40s, right? At this point, I think he's early 40s, maybe.
No way.
Is he? I think he's older than was he older than I thought? 35. Okay.
No spring chicken, but
no spring chicken. But I guess we got a couple more years of him.
Right
Sugiura,
right in his prime.
Okay. 53 for Segura. You know what I mean? Like these guys, Suji Ishikawa is a guy who used to have these kind of matches. He's getting old.
Yes.
I don't know how many more of those he's going to have.
He can't do it anymore.
Daisuke Sakamoto still has it from time to time, but getting old.
Yeah, he's winding down.
He's winding down. He's not like he used to be. Yuka Okabayashi still can do it sometimes.
Yeah, he hasn't. He's still retained more of it than Sakamoto has.
Right.
Sure.
So there's
but he's like retired. He fucking let. He quit,
right.
Though.
He's done. So I don't know if he's ever going to come back. I don't know, but he's right now he's done. Less and less of these guys can do these sort of matches, and new guys coming up aren't doing these type of matches. New guys that are coming up are doing very much the, I don't know who you want, who or what you want to call it, but the longer style, the more traditional sort of American style, where you gotta wear them down for a while, and the stuff that we kind of attribute, or if you want to call it like the Okada style stuff, where it's a very deliberate, very slow, very drawn out main event or whatever, and you're gonna have a lot of really good stuff in those matches, but it does tend to take a little while to get going. I just think Japanese wrestling needs to have more of these. More matches where it's 10 minutes of guys just beating the fuck out of each other and one guy wins and one guy loses. It's
hey, we just talked about
art.
that era of New Japan, that with the flash finishes and stuff with Shinya Hashimoto and people like that. Very similar in some way. Look, the main event of this show was physical, but in a different way.
Yeah.
The Kiyomiya Wagner 3 match. I mean, Kiyomiya's chest was all fucking marked up and he was bleeding from the chest. That was a very physical match. But this is a different kind of physicality. This is two badass motherfuckers who you can buy as badass motherfuckers beating the shit out of each other.
On their way to the ring. If you never watched wrestling ever in your life, on the way to the ring, you look at these two guys and go, fuck, those dudes look like trouble. Yeah. Masa Kitamiya walks up. He literally looks like a bull, with his fucking haircut and stuff. You look at that guy and go, fuck, that dude's a monster. Look at that guy. I don't want to see that guy. And then Segura comes out and you're like a
fire hydrant.
Right. He's shaped like a fire hydrant. And then Segura comes out and he just looks like your aggressive asshole uncle, you know what I mean? That like
he's you know what he is? He's the older guy at the bar who everyone knows not to fuck with.
Right. A new guy comes in, like he's at the pool table. He wants to go to the pool table, and some young guy's like, "Nah, we're playing here." And someone walks up and goes, "I wouldn't do that." You should let him play. If he wants to play, let him play. They don't know. And then the young buck challenges him, and then he beats the fuck out of the young kid and goes and plays pool the rest of the night. And then that kid learns, and the next time,
rips his fucking eyeballs out, throws him out of the bar, and and that's it. And on top of it, he was like an amateur wrestler.
Right.
Like he's
cool as a cucumber while he's doing that. He's never, he's never up.
He's never gotten to.
Right. He's just like
never gotten to.
He's annoyed that he has to beat your ass. Like you are annoying him that he has to beat your ass, but he's gonna do it because he has to.
Yeah. And he's not a bully, but if you test him, he'll fucking, you're gonna fail. If you test him, you're gonna fucking fail. Yeah, that's, and he has that fucking aura and always has.
Well, then you have David Finlay. You know what I mean? It's like, what? Come on, you know what I mean? It's like, right? Like another promotion, you have David Finlay.
No, I hear you.
Nothing against David Finlay. I mean, he can beat my ass. I'm sure of it. But it's like,
hey, listen. God bless the Dragongate guys, and I liked the show. But this is what we're talking about here. Okay, there's Funky Jackie Kamei and there's Takashi Sugiura. We need more Takashi Sugiuras.
Yeah, well, I think variety is good too, because we'll talk about the Dragon
variety
one
is
too.
Good.
Yeah,
but we need more of these guys.
Right,
is what I'm saying. Like, variety is good. I'm gonna put that show over later. But listen, you have the absolute fucking geeks that are in that WWE Performance Center, and you have Takashi Sugiura. Have you seen these fake combine videos?
Oh my god! Yeah. Wait, fake combine? Are you telling me Michin is like an elite level athlete? Because
they like game show contestants. These people with their WWE black T-shirts and they're
Hale doing external rotations on the functional trainer. Going,
But I mean, seriously, I watch.
It's so bad. Yeah.
I watch these videos and it's like these are not pro wrestlers. These are like reality show contestants.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
it's bad.
There's functionally no difference between the people in the PC and like the Love Island cast. It's like the same fucking people. I don't want to watch these people have fake fights. I'm not interested in it. Takashi Sugiura, I want to watch him and Masa Kitamiya headbutt each other and beat the shit out of each other. I mean, It's just we need more of this. I'm not saying we need everything to be this. I'm saying we need more of this. And like you're saying, it's going away. It's going away.
The new generation is not this.
And forget the headbutt spot. You don't even need that spot. It was a great match without the headbutt spot. We'd be praising it just the same. Yeah, so yeah, what an incredible fucking match. Just, I know we got to move on because we have other stuff to talk about. But Akira, Eita, and Hayata over Hitoshi. Thunder and lightning over here. Hitoshi Kamano, Junta Miyawaki, and Yu Owada. That was just, there was nothing special really about that. We don't need to spend a lot of time on it. Eita still does not want to be molested, and his side wins the Hayata is going to be in the Super Junior. So got that to look forward to. Junior tag three-way, we kind of talked about this. Alpha Wolf and Dragon Bane. These guys are tag team of the year contenders.
Absolutely.
I mean,
100%.
They've been so great. Like they were kind of the shining stars of Noah when Noah was struggling last year. Like you could always count on these guys. And this was a three-way. They had Suji Kondo and Yashi were involved in this. And then obviously Tarasuke and Yohei came into this as the champions, and they ultimately scored both because it was like elimination style. It wasn't, I guess, WWE style where it's the first fall wins. It was more ECW style where, you do the eliminations. But this match, this is probably the third or fourth best match on the show, maybe even the second best match on the show, depending on your taste. But Alpha Wolf and Dragon Bane are just, they're two guys that you got to seek out their shit at this point. And when I watch Noah shows, they never, ever are getting a skip. You just can't. They're great.
No. Yeah, they do at least one or two incredible things in every single match that still blow. I mean, we've seen a lot of wrestling over these years, and a lot of crazy stuff happens. And sometimes these guys do stuff that is just like, fuck, I can't believe they just did that, and how good it looked and how perfect it landed. So yeah, fantastic.
Then we had Kano defeat Yamato. Yamato's at the point of his career where he doesn't care. He'll lose to anybody. If you can get a Yamato to come in and lose to Kano, I mean, from Noah's standpoint, that's a nice win for Kano.
Yeah. They had a good back and forth match or whatever. It was fun to watch Kano. Normally Kano's in there and he's just fucking kicking the hell out of guys so loud. You could tell he respected Yamato. He wasn't kicking him very hard. He was kicking him hard, but not as hard as he, kicks some guys. He was definitely a level of respect from Kano there.
There's a great spot where he blocked the suplex by just grabbing Yamato's tights. Did you remember that spot? Yeah. Kano's just such a little prick. He's one of my favorite guys to watch. So then it was the MMA style tag with Kazushi Sakuraba and Oka Sasaki over Hikaru Sato and Taniguchi. What do you think of this Oka Sasaki?
I even liked it.
They got something there.
I think they do.
Got something there.
I think they do. Myself and Grant Akuma talked about him a month or so ago when he guested on the show, and one of the things that Grant Akuma said was like what he needs to do is embrace like his wrestling side and let go of his pseudo fighter side. So that might be the path to kind of understanding it a little bit. And like we were kind of judging this guy after what I think is like second match or whatever. I think they got something here. He's starting to feel it a little bit more. He's starting to feel a little more confident. He's starting to move around a little bit more confident. It might just simply be like, it's not easy to be a wrestler. It's very hard to be a pro wrestler, and it takes a little while to kind of get it and understand it and for it to click. Now, it doesn't always click with some guys. Some guys it never does. I kind of think it's clicking with this guy a little bit because I thought this match was pretty good, and I thought he stood out to me, and they're clearly trying to direct him and make him into a big deal. So I think they got something here. I really do. I really, really do.
So the 8-woman tag, these are all Marigold defectors?
So the one team was the Julia, Mai Sakurai, Mirai, and Utami Hayashita. They were all Marigold. The other team was not. I think the other team is
I didn't know who half of these people were.
Yeah, I think the other team is I don't know, are they all Marvelous people or a combination of Marvelous and actually no, I think the other team was all Marvelous wrestlers. Maybe Marvelous and freelancers. But the team that won, that was the Marigold team. The one with Julia on it. That was your Marigold team. But I thought this was good. It's a good little showcase. And I think everybody worked pretty hard in this and the Marigold team, obviously has some really, I like Utami and Julia are two of my favorites in all of Joshi right now. So I was not surprised that this was pretty good. And I'll be checking out those Marigold shows. They have a lot of good talent there. So I don't know how many of them I'm going to watch. I don't know if I'm going to be in on it every single, show or whatever, but check it out.
All right. Jake Lee and Tajiri defeat Hajime Ohara and Marufuji. This was my least favorite match on the show.
The silver-haired fox Tajiri.
Yeah, he's been washed up for a number of years.
He was still the second best guy in this match.
Jake Lee is just such a nothing.
Fucking dud.
I know he's having a match didn't they have a match with Naito that was set up on the All Together show or whatever, something. Because I'm never watching the All Together show. I have no interest. I'm not seeking it out. I'm not watching it. Those joint shows always are the pits. I don't have any interest.
People pretend they're a bigger deal than they are. People pretend that they're like some groundbreaking thing, and it's like, man, we've been watching this game.
At least they're doing angles off of them and stuff, though.
Yeah,
now.
I agree.
I mean, that's so that's they usually don't even do that much.
But we've been doing joint show. I mean, you've been watching Japanese wrestling forever and
for decades. I'm just not.
How many times do these happen? And they're like, oh, hold on a minute, this is going to be good, and then it's never that good. It's never that important, and
business is bad across the board, and they're all trying to help each other out, and that's why promotions are lending a lot of guys to each other. And this always happens in Japan. If you've been around long enough, it's cyclical. And then one of these promotions, let's say New Japan gets hot, or for the sake of argument, let's say Noah gets real hot and becomes the number one promotion in the country, just for the sake of the argument. They'll all of a sudden stop using outsiders and stop helping and stop caring. This cycle has repeated for years and years and years and years. And right now business is down. So you're going to get all these joint shows, this United Japanese Network or whatever they're calling it. And I don't know. I just have no use for it. If I find out the shows are incredible and they're doing all these great then maybe I'll jump in. But for now, I just basically ignore it. Hajime Ohara, I talk about this all the time. He fucks someone's wife in the office or something because he just never gets pushed. He's always eating fucking pins.
Why doesn't he leave? There's got to be something else for him to do in the world of wrestling.
I don't know. I mean, he lost to Tajiri in this fucking
That's what I'm saying. That's got to be like okay, guys, I see. Can you let me out of my go to 0-1? Go somewhere. You can't lose to Tajiri. The silver-haired fox Tajiri. The guy's not even dyeing his hair anymore. He's just got white gray hair, and he's beating Ohara 1, 2, 3. Sure, he used the mist. It was kind of funny. He used the mist, and then he kicked Ohara, and they did 1, 2, and then Ohara kicked out. And I was like, oh, yeah, okay, cool. They can't have that be the finish. So they both stood up, and then Tajiri kicked him again, and then went 1, 2, 3. And I was like, oh, okay. Was the hope spot they're like Ohara? They're like, okay. How about you kick out a 1 Tajiri kick, but not 2? Second time he kicks it, you're done then, pal. Like, you got to do something. Come on, man. Have some pride. Go to All Japan. Go to do something.
They just don't.
Leave.
Go back to other regime.
Go back to Michinoku Pro or something, man. What are you doing? There's no reason to be here anymore.
He's not gonna make any money.
I guess is he making enough here that it's just like whatever, fine, yeah.
I don't know. I mean, other regimes used to push him. He just not this one.
No.
Daga defeats Alejandro. I thought Alejandro looked great on the Dragongate show, by the way, but we'll get to that.
Yes, he was Osaka Pro. I know. Before people go, it wasn't Michinoku Pro. He was an Osaka Pro. I know.
Who?
Ohara.
He's a fucking
but I don't know if he ever wrestled in Michinoku Pro. I think he came in during the Osaka Pro days. So.
The other thing about it is he has a history with Tajiri because he worked for Tajiri's promotion, right?
Yes.
So, he probably doesn't give a shit that it's like that's his fucking senpai, he's fucking so he may have even trained him. Now I need to know. We're getting sidetracked here. Who trained Hajime? No, he trained of course, he trained in Mexico. But he then worked for didn't he work for like Smash and all that shit? I know I'm not imagining this.
I don't remember if it was that WNC. I think it was the Wrestling New Classic promotion or whatever.
Yeah,
and then Smash. Yes, you're right.
Yeah, so he's got a history with Tajiri, which he doesn't. You see, that's that Japanese thing. Like that's his fucking. He sees him as like an elder, So that's why he fucking. But again, my point is they never pushed the guy. So
go back to Dragongate. Come on, go back to Dragongate, buddy.
Would they take him? I think he'd be a good fit.
I think he'd be a great fit.
What's his ask Case Low what his relationship is with Ultimo Dragon.
That's because he was trained by him, but he might fucking despise the guy, and that's why he's
But it's Ultimo Dragon, so you never fucking know.
Right, because
so
you're either perfectly fine with Ultimo Dragon or you fucking despise the guy and don't want to be ever seen anywhere near him. So it could be either one.
All right, so Daga and Alejandro, we talked a little bit about this. I think Daga's a contender for most improved wrestler. You couldn't find a more boring wrestler on the planet than Daga over the last half decade. And I don't know, man, like he just fucking flipped the switch. And Alejandro has been impressing the hell out of me. I love watching that guy wrestle. This was a nifty little junior title match. This show rocked. I enjoyed the fuck out of this show.
I'm with you, man. Yeah, at this point, as the show was going on, I was all in. And I didn't love the semi-main that much, and we'll talk about that, with the last remaining match we have here. But at this point, I was like, this show had, like you said, it had a little bit of everything. It had a hardcore,
variety.
Opener. You had, kind of your young tag team there with Starboy Charlie and Titus Alexander, your young American tag team versus, a younger Japanese tag team. You had the Bulls fucking, killing one another. You had the junior heavyweight tag team elimination match. You had Kano and Yamato kind of, a little bit more slowed down, harder hit. You had your MMA style. You had your Joshi. You had Daga and Alejandro, which is a totally different match. So everything was different. Every single match felt different, but not like because sometimes Noah feels like every match is in its own universe. It's just like, what the fuck? Like, why is this happening on this? This all felt like it was together, but in the sense that, like, hey, we're going to give you every single different style of wrestling is going to be here on this night with a lot of energy, and it's going to look good. So yeah, I love this show. Didn't love the semi-main event, but it was fine. It was fine. Who cares?
So I think I think this was originally mystery opponents. I don't know if the reveal was at the show itself or if they announced it before. I don't know, but it ended up being Tenkoji against Anthony Green and Jack Morris. What surprised me here was Kojima took the pin. That was a little surprising. Court Bauer got to get on the phone, man. He can't be having his
right.
champ.
Ahead of Azteca Lucha. I'm about to watch this guy wrestle, and now I think less of him.
But Jack Morris with a beautiful flippy do. Was it a moonsault or a shooting star press, whatever it is that he did? I can't remember. I listen again.
They're like earnestly good too. Good-looking guys. They're like actually good too.
Yeah, Jack Morris is a future star in the pro wrestling business. I said it a month ago or whatever. I'm saying it again. The guy's a future star in the pro wrestling business. He is just, it's all coming together for Jack Morris, and he's got a great look. He'll be on American television, sooner than later, and he'll have a chance to be a star, and he's going to make a lot of money. Or he'll stay here, be a big star in Noah.
Yeah, it'd be great if he stays there too.
He's this guy. They really found something in him. Great scouting, whoever found him. I used to know the answer to that. I can't remember anymore. But yeah, and he's working at the top. If you notice, he's always in the main event or the semi-main event. And he's held 1 million titles now at this point. He was a double title holder a couple months ago. Before he lost to, who did he lose that national title to? Hayata. Right, with the rope hold gimmick.
I forget now. I forget who he lost that to, but
they did the 6-man tag where he beat him holding the ropes, and then they had to earn the title shot, and then Hayata beat him in the same way in the title match. So, yeah, but Morris threw a fit, but yeah, he looked really great here, and Tenzan, I don't know, man. It's boys to men. We're at the end of the road here.
Oh,
how much longer can this guy go?
Honestly, I thought the road was done. I can't believe the road's still going. It's.
I don't know. Geez, it's not pretty. Not pretty. And then we talked about the main event. Yeah, I thought it was a great show.
Yeah, Noah's good. Noah has definitely turned the corner here in 2024. So I'm all in on them. All right, let's
do Dragon Gate while we have time.
Let's do Dragon Gate. So I didn't watch the whole show. I watched the Steel Cage main event. So I don't know if you want to quickly go through the whole show, and then we'll talk.
Can quickly go through.
Yeah, you want to do that, and then we'll talk about the cage match.
Yeah. So first thing I want to say is I crash watched a shit ton of Dragon Gate. I did not want to parachute in, and Case Low had recommended to watch I guess on 4/27 there was a 8-man. Was it the 27th? I don't know. On one of these shows, there was like a 8-man tag with all of the important people involved in the Dead or Alive main event. But that didn't really do anything for me at all. What I really enjoyed, though, was in Kyoto, with the stained glass building.
Oh, yeah. My favorite building in wrestling.
So they did a gimmick on that show where you had the 4 guys on the one side and the 4 guys on the other side, and they drew straws and paired off in singles matches. And the gimmick was 5-minute time limit, then 10-minute, then 15-minute, then 20-minute. Like each progressive match, depending which match you ended up in, had a longer and longer time limit. And they had Johnny Valletta and Luis Monte. They drew the 5-minute time limit match because, of course, they had the title match at Dead or Alive, and they went to like a double count out, right? And then it was Ishin versus Jackie Funky Kamei, and Ishin won it when one of his boys ran. I forget who it was. Ran in, while the referee was distracted, and hit Kamei with the chair or whatever, and Ishin got the pin. And then Strong Machine J beat KZ in the semi. And then the main event was Hyo beating Shun Skywalker in the 15 or 20-minute time limit, whatever that one was. And I thought that show was a better appetizer for Dead or Alive than the 8-man tag from, a week earlier or whatever. The other thing that Dragon Gate has been doing, because I watched all these fucking shows this week, which again is why, unfortunately, I apologize, I couldn't get to New Japan. They've got these kids doing 5-minute exhibition matches at the start of these shows. And there's like a handful of them. I think there's 3 or 4 of them. They're fucking beasts, these kids. I'm telling you, I don't know how much of this you've seen or haven't seen, Rich, but they're typical Dragon Gate trainees. They're short, they're not big guys. And they're still in the training mode. They still wear like the Dragon Gate fucking gear. They don't have their own gear or anything like that. And they just get in there and they do like waist locks and fucking, they wrestle. And I say this all the time when I watch the New Japan Young Lions when they first start out with the shaved heads and the black gear. I wish there was a promotion where people just wrestled like this, and I know it wouldn't draw a lot of money or anything like that, but there's so many micro promotions in Japan covering like every style that there is. I wish there was a micro promotion in Japan that ran like Shinkiba First Ring and shit. And was small in scale where it was just guys that are just fucking and not shoot style. We've had shoot style before and that's fine, but just guys who wrestle a hard, aggressive pro wrestling style without all of the pomp and circumstance and the gimmicks around it. Because I love these little 5-minute Dragon Gate exhibition matches and the way the guys work. But then when they graduate, they don't wrestle like that anymore.
Right.
And it's not just the Dragon Gate thing.
Every
promotion. I would love a promotion where they just wrestle the Young Lion style, the New Japan Young Lion style, or a promotion where they wrestle this style. I would really get into that. And I know it wouldn't draw money and you got to have personality. And I get all that. I understand pro wrestling, believe me. But there's just something about it. I don't skip any of these.
Some of these micro promotions, like you said, like 20 people are in the fucking crowd anyway. It's like, I don't know. Why not try this?
Why don't someone try this? I think there could be something to it. I can't do any worse than some of these other fucking promotions that are out there. But anyway, so I got all caught up. I read all the cases writings. I listened to all the fucking audio. I watched all the fucking shows. And then I locked in for Dead or Alive. Drew 3,085 fans in Aichi. Again, I'm not going to knock them. Is this a vintage fucking Dragon Gate crowd? Of course not. But in the state of the business today, I'm not going to knock what Dragon Gate and Noah drew this week. I'm not going to do it. I think that it's perfectly acceptable numbers, assuming that they're real numbers and based, Noah had them lights off, Rich, so I don't fucking know. But I could buy that there was 3,000 people at this show, though, just looking around.
Yeah.
But anyway. The first 2 matches, nothing really to talk about. A typical Dragon Gate pay-per-view or big show where it's guys that aren't involved in the mix at the moment, just in tag matches and, Kagetora, Susumu Yokozuka and Yamato over the gold class guys. And, it was fine. And then, so I'm going to skip because we do have some other topics to get to. I really enjoyed UT and Strong Machine.
Yeah, so actually I did watch this match. Now that I remember, I was jumping back and forth. I did actually see this match.
Yeah, I enjoyed it for what it was, and And, Strong Machine Jay obviously was a major factor. There was a very important spot that he participated in the survival cage match. But I enjoyed the wrestling in that match, UT picking up the win. But the best match on the show to me was the Twin Gate match. I thought that Dragon Kid and Naruki Doi over Alejandro and Keito Kiyomiya, who, were the invaders with the tag titles. But Keito Kiyomiya was like a non-factor in the match. Alejandro looked great. And, he looked great in there with Dragon Kid. And I thought Doi looked great. He's kind of like splits his time between multiple promotions these days. But I really, I like that better than the main event. It didn't have the emotion, obviously, of the main event and all those things. And I guess we'll get to the main event because I don't think I liked it as much as everybody else seemed to. But I thought the Twin Gate match kicked ass. And then the Dream Gate match, where Luis Monte, the former Diamante, he retained over Johnny Valletta. Very different kind of Dream Gate match than we're used to, because Valletta's more of a brawler. He's one of these Bruiser Brody clones, and there's been dozens of them over the years. And people may remember him from All Japan. It was All Japan, right? Not Noah. It was All Japan.
Yes.
Yeah. And that's who Monte has been programmed with. And I would assume that program is over now that he has retained the title. And that brings us to the Dead or Alive cage match, which was Jackie Funky Kamei, Jason Lee, KZ, Shun Skywalker, and Hyo. So you got the three baby faces, you got the two heels with Jason Lee, who recently had the excellent heel turn, which I thought was a great move for this promotion.
Mm-hmm.
That was the right move after watching everything. Shun Skywalker, to me, is the straw that stirs the drink. I can't imagine this promotion without him.
Oh, he's
it
the
is
best.
Just,
yeah.
He is so good.
Everything
and he
revolves
just
around
is in the
him.
middle of everything.
Yeah, he's what makes everything in the company happen. He is he's the Steve Austin of the 1990, not in terms of drawing and all that sort of stuff, but like in WWF in 1998, everybody was the whole universe revolved around Steve Austin. That's kind of what it feels like with Shun Skywalker. Is like every single person in that company in some way, shape, or form is influenced by Shun Skywalker, positively, negatively, whatever. He is involved in everything, and he's the reason everything happens.
So I didn't love this match. I thought it was a good match. I'm watching this and I'm thinking to myself, this just doesn't have the charm of a vintage Dead or Alive survival cage. It was very heavy emotionally, and this is going to be weird to say, but especially coming from No Fun Lanza, I preferred the Dead or Alive cage matches when they had more charm. Guys shooting tennis balls, guys doing wacky spots, and there was some of that here. But I think that this match has kind of lost that charm with this new generation of guys. And the other thing is, while I thought the match was good, and obviously we'll talk about the emotion, and I did enjoy the show for the most part, although it still had a little bit of lifelessness that I've been complaining about with Dragon Gate. I am just not connecting with these personalities. And at this point, I just have to accept it's a me thing. They're all fine wrestlers. And I mean, Hyo is the one that I really can't connect with. And that's a problem in this match.
In this match, if you're not a Hyo guy,
so
this is not the match for you. Because
I just don't get him. Like, he does this male stripper thing and they put the dollar bills in his suspenders. And he just, I don't know. He's boring to me. I don't connect with him emotionally at all. And the whole story of the match was Hyo sacrifice. He could have escaped.
Right. So for people that didn't see it early on in the match, Hyo could have escaped. Now what's going on right now is there's a lot of unit upheaval, a lot of guys moving and shaking or whatever. And Jackie Funky Kamei wants to get into a unit with Hyo, wants Hyo to join him in what Big Hug is, I think, the name of the new unit there. And that's Big with Louis Monte and a few other dudes. But Jackie Funky Kamei has left Natural Vibes and wants Hyo to kind of come with him to this Big Hug promotion. So it's a little bit of a, hey, I'm your buddy, come with me and let's do this. But also, like, they're friends and they're trying. So Hyo has a chance to leave early in the match, has a chance to leave and looks down at the ring and sees Jackie Funky Kamei getting beat up by the heels, are just beating on him. And Shun Skywalker and Jason Lee in particular are just beating on him, and says, all right, look, I can escape the cage and save myself. And that's what kind of the whole vibe of this, the if you've never seen this match before, is that you can leave, but you're leaving your friends out to die. and they could get their hair either if they have hair.
And it's that balance.
Right. If they get their hair, if they lose, they get their hair cut. If they have a mask, they lose their mask or whatever. So you have this balance of, do you save yourself or do you help your friends? Hyo in this case, very early on could have left, but said, no, you know what? Not going to do it. I'm going to save my friend. I'm going to get back in there. I'm going to wrestle. So he gets back in, jumps down, and helps Jackie Funky May, fend off the heels for a little bit. Right. Now, they actually work in unison a little bit later, too, because Hyo is trying to help Jackie Funky May get out of the ring. And there's one point where Hyo just basically, Jackie just kind of jumps onto his arms, and Hyo just kind of lifts him onto his shoulders and leaps him up in the air and says, get out of there, go. And Jackie Funky May takes it. So he gets up to the top, gets the flag, he's out. And Hyo's kind of on his own. And it's always this weird thing where, and this happens during a lot of the Dead or Alive cages, that guy will look back in the ring and go, fuck. And realizing, I've just set my buddy up to get his ass kicked. And now he has to sit there and watch it and say, fuck, I should have just probably stayed. No, it's that balance of, do you just leave to kind of save yourself, or do you stay to kind of help your guy win or whatever? And that's what the story of this match really was. And in its clearest of terms was Hyo saving himself to help Jackie, stay alive, Jackie helping, or Hyo helping Jackie get out of the ring, and then Jackie having to sit on the side of the ring watching Jason Lee and Shun Skywalker basically beat the fuck out of Hyo for 20 minutes or whatever. And the emotion of that, and eventually Hyo does succumb to both the heels and has to cut his hair when it's all said and done. You have a few other things as well. Yeah. You have Strong Machine J coming out looking like he was going to turn on KZ and leave Natural Vibes. Shun Skywalker, he gets up to the top. So essentially it's KZ and Shun Skywalker at the top of the cage. Strong Machine J runs up to the top of the cage, hits KZ, and everybody goes, no, and all the crowd is just like, oh, god damn it, and shakes Shun Skywalker's hand, and everyone's just like, oh, god damn it, motherfucker, he's joined with Shun Skywalker. And then Strong Machine J just takes a board and just hits Shun Skywalker on top of the head with it or whatever, and then shakes KZ's hand and lets him know, all right, come on, man, I'm going to help you get out. And then KZ gets out of the ring, and he's good. So
Strong Machine J faked a heel turn.
Yes.
To help KZ get out because Shun was preventing KZ from getting out.
Right.
So the crowd was like, oh fuck, he turned, and then they were like, oh no, he didn't, and then KZ got out. So that was the other kind of big plot point.
But again, it left Jason Lee and Shun Skywalker in the ring against Hyo, 2-on-1, two guys, two hated heels against the one, underdog babyface. And it went, we always talk about this. One of the things I love about Dragongate is he doesn't overcome the odds. Are you kidding? He's not going to overcome those odds. He just loses.
No, yeah, and I've always appreciated that about Dragon Gate's booking. Now, sometimes they will, but it's not this derivative.
Well, it matters
thing where
when it happens. It matters.
That's right. Yeah, and it's not this derivative thing where you automatically expect the babyface to overcome the numbers game and the insurmountable odds, which to me is not sophisticated storytelling, and it's insulting to my intelligence. It's good storytelling for my kids. But, and it's sometimes it's the right. I'm not saying it's never the right. Sometimes it's the right story, but Dragon Gate, more than any other promotion, you can't count on that happening. They don't emasculate their heels in the same way that American promotions often do in those scenarios. And that's exactly what happened here. Lee and Skywalker eventually got out, and Hyo, who could have been the first guy out, but cemented his loyalty to Kamei, and then Kamei was just so torn up about it.
Right. Sitting outside the ring crying, watching his buddy who helped him get out of the ring and saved himself just get his ass absolutely handed to him right in front of him.
Unable to do anything about it, and just totally broken up and in tears. And then the whole emotional thing in the post-match where you're not sure, this guy, the heels are shaving off his hair and they're mocking him. And finally the baby faces are like, all right, enough. We're going to shave his hair with dignity. You know what I mean? And,
yeah. Because what they were doing was, and because Shun Skywalker's just the fucking best, they were putting Hyo on a chair to shave his head, but then Jason Lee would kick the chair out.
Right.
It's like, you fucking assholes. Just cut the guy's hair. It's like...
And he's doing his moaning. His,
the whole time as it's happening. And you're like, all right, fuck this.
Fucking good.
You're like, fuck this guy and fuck you. Come on. Yeah, so the babyfaces run in and go, shave the guy's hair with some fucking dignity, for God's sakes,
I don't know if we talked about this, but very quickly, at WrestleMania weekend at the ETU show, remember when the commentary was saying how Jay was saying Shun doesn't like He's teaming with the Dragon Gate guys all weekend, but he doesn't like any of these guys, so he's traveling in different cars
Yes,
than them.
I
And
love
he's
it.
not
I love it.
training with them. No, but did you see someone who was at the show?
They said he like wouldn't stand with them. Like they were at the merch table and he was on his own, like in a chair, just in the corner.
Yeah, not only that, they left and he stayed.
Oh, it's so
Like
good.
he really stayed after everyone else left. And then I don't know if it was a work and he hopped into Uber afterward, but the fan says that he stuck around and like left in his own Uber.
That's
like,
so good.
Separate from those guys.
Yeah, I'm sure in that
know?
Uber he took the mask off and he went to the same hotel that all the Dragon guys were at. But
All right, of course.
I
But
love the
that's so
idea.
cool.
I love the effort, man. Wrestling. You used to care. We used to care about this shit. You know what I mean? Wrestling. People used to care. It used to matter. I love it.
Yeah, but like he's arms folded in the chair while they're selling merch, and he don't want to be involved. And then he doesn't leave with them either. That's like, yeah, but no, but yeah, I thought the Jason Lee turn really added a spark to this promotion, and it's really what they needed, another strong presence on the heel side. Skywalker is just, he makes everything happen. And look, if you're wrapped up in this story, you know, because then the post-match stuff after he got the head shaved and they got the heels to skedaddle, and then, you know, they shaved his head with dignity, and then they all did the long promos, and they did, you know, you didn't know, is Hyo going to be annoyed? Is he going to, you know, but they eventually they all came together, and, you know, and everything. It was the big happy ending at the end. But yeah, I mean, it was a good match. It just didn't land with me because I don't know. I just it was good though. I don't want to shit on it.
I liked it a lot. I liked it a lot. I think from a technical standpoint, it wasn't. I mean, there's been better Dead or Alive cage matches. There's been better Dragon Gate matches,
all about
obviously.
The story though.
Yeah. So I like this one a lot. I was a big fan of it. I think it's well worth it. Case Low wrote a fantastic review of it as well over at voicesofwrestling.com. So you got to read that after. You either read it before or after. I would recommend after, but maybe if you need to catch up on what the hell the story is and all that sort of stuff, you can read it before. But no, I thought he did a tremendous job with that, and I loved it. I thought it was a really good emotional. I've heard they had a Cork and Hall match a couple days later that was really, really great as well. Alan Cunningham was putting it over as well, so I'll have to definitely check that one out. I haven't had a chance. Been watching a lot of wrestling this week, but I'll have to check that one out pretty soon. But yeah, I liked it, and it's got me invested in the rest of the year for Dragon Gate. And I've been pretty down on Dragon Gate over the last couple of years, but I think this may have gotten me, you know, I don't know if I'm fully hooked again like I've been in years past, but I feel like I'm back in, at least, you know, paying a little bit of attention to it.
All right, so the Carnival finals are set. It's Kento Miyahara versus Jun Saito. So so the B block played out exactly as we laid it out until the Jun Saito Suwama match, which we thought Suwama would win, but it ended up being Jun Saito who goes through. So, but Hideki Suzuki did beat Yuma Anzai. You know, we called every match. We called exactly how the dominoes would fall. But Jun Saito goes to the final, which I actually prefer greatly. I'm kind of over Suwama.
No, this rocks. This rocks. I'm all in on it.
Push your younger guys. Just do it, man. So Jun Saito will go to the final against Kento Miyahara, who, you know, the A block, as we laid out, was much more simple. It was very simply, once Yuma Aoyagi got upset by Hokuto Omori, which we knew was going to happen, they did not reveal the horse head, though. They teased it, but they did not reveal.
Okay, I was going to ask because I'm not up to speed. They did not reveal the horse head. We don't know.
They did not do the reveal.
Okay.
So I thought maybe that would lead to the finish, and then they do the big reveal, but they didn't. But Omori wins the match and spoils Aoyagi. So as predicted, it came down to Miyahara and Davey Boy Smith, which really it would have anyway, because Aoyagi would have needed to win, and then Miyahara, Davey Boy Smith would have had to have been a no contest, and they all would have been tied at 10. They're not going to do that shit. But to remove all doubt, Omori just beat Aoyagi, you know, and then it came down to Miyahara and Davey Boy Smith Jr., which was a great fucking match. Davey Boy Smith Jr. just beat the living shit out of this man, and he worked over his arm. And Miyahara, okay, this is the kind of match where it depends what you want out of your selling. I thought Miyahara was fantastic. I really did. He was putting over this beating. He was screaming like he was being murdered. I mean, it was such a unique match in that way because he's taking this beating from this guy who's twice his size, right? And Davey Boy Smith Jr. worked like totally not in the way that he works in MLW, where he's kind of like an indie sleazer, like in brawling and shit like that. He worked like he usually works in Japan, and he just put a beating on Miyahara and worked that arm over, and Miyahara was selling like he was getting his rims lipped off. But then Miyahara didn't really sell the arm down the stretch. So that might bug some people. It didn't necessarily bug me, because I thought Miyahara's selling throughout the rest of the match was just on just another level. And his charisma is just, it's just different. I mean, there's no one else that can match him. Not Yuma. And I love Yuma. Not either Yuma. Not Aoyagi or Anzai. You know, maybe Anzai will get there. But yeah, so Miyahara overcomes. He eventually hits the straight jacket German and everything, and he wins the match and gets to 12 points and moves on to the final. So I thought it was a great match. Notebook match for sure. Maybe the best match in the tournament. I'd have to think about it. But at any rate, he will face Jun Saito in the final on I guess that's the 12th. So we'll talk about that in a couple days. So we'll talk about who wins the champion Carnival. And I would think Miyahara, and then we'll get Miyahara with Yuma Anzai, but who the fuck knows? Yeah, maybe Jun Saito.
Let's do it. Fuck it.
I mean,
let's do it.
You know, and the Saitos, you know, I thought B Block overall ended up being way better than I thought it would. Yuma Anzai is just, and the Saitos, I mean, if you're into the way they wrestle, you know, they have a lot of interesting matches. They have a lot of matches too that just don't work. But yeah, and the A Block was really dragged down by Hokuto Omori's bullshit. And of course, Jiro, who I just skipped every match. I didn't watch a single Jiro match. I'm not going to do it. Life is too short. I'm not watching Jiro. But yeah, so that'll be the Champion Carnival final. I thought it was a solid tournament. Was it a great tournament? No. It's weird because I thought it over-delivered and under-delivered at the same time, because there weren't a lot of great matches, but it was a fun and easy to watch tournament. So I don't know, kind of a dichotomy there. Why don't we do this? Why don't we blow off New Japan?
It's fine.
I didn't watch it anyway.
I could wrap it up. Do you want me to wrap it up in
plus.
a minute? I can wrap it up in a minute.
Well, do you want to do that, or do you think maybe you want to do a plus, or what do you want to do? I don't want to pressure you to do a plus if you don't have time to do a plus, but
I don't know if I'm gonna have time to do a plus this week with Aztec. I will do some. Let's talk about Aztec. You know, I can wrap up New Japan in 1 minute here. All right.
Okay.
Jeff Cobb, Zack
All
Sabre
right.
Jr. enjoyed. David Finlay, Yota Tsuji, boring. Did not like. David Finlay stinks. Nick Nemeth versus Hiroshi Tanahashi. Tanahashi, that road is, you know, remember the Tenzan road? The Tanahashi road is ending very quickly as well. Nick Nemeth, not that interesting either. Move on to night 2. Chase Owens and Kenta, your new tag team champions. Say no more.
Oh my God, they put the titles back on.
Of course they did. Of course they did. Shingo
Holy
versus Gabe
shit,
Kidd.
this fucking company.
Some people are going to say it's good. Some people are going to say it's bad. I think it was fine. They did a bunch of no-sell bullshit in it. I a little too much no-sell stuff. Like they had a really good match up to a certain point, and then just started doing things and then popping up and doing things and popping up. It'd be a power bomb and then they'd pop up. It'd be a pile driver, they'd pop up. There'd be a superplex, they'd pop up. And it was like, all right, guy. You know what I mean? Like I'm out on Gabe Kidd. I don't like the guy. Shingo, I love Shingo, but
I have to watch that match. You know my taste.
I don't know if I don't think you're gonna like it. But again, I see why people like it. I do. I really 100% see why people like it. But you know what? This is the fake, forced bullshit version of Masakitsumiya and Sugiura that we talked about earlier. You know, you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And it was 21 minutes and 23 seconds. Have a 9-minute match where you do all that shit. Not 21 minutes. Right? Like, what are we doing? David Finlay and Nick Nemeth, better than you think, but still not that good. And then John Moxley, Ren Narita, fucking filled with House of Torture bullshit. Fuck off. Go away, New Japan. There you go. Did it.
So they put the title back on Finlay.
Of course.
But Nemeth had to get his defense over Tanahashi in, which we have it on good authority that was contractually obligated. For him to have his little, whatever it was, 5-match, 6-match deal, he needed to win a title, and he wanted to have a title defense against Tanahashi. It was supposed to be in Chicago. Tanahashi was hurt. So they shoehorned it in the day before he lost the title back to Finlay.
Correct.
Because a lot of people on the roster were annoyed that Finlay had to lose to him. Because people like Finlay's been there forever. Set what you think about his wrestling aside. He's well liked because he's been there forever, and he's a veteran on the roster, and he's been a good soldier for how many years. And people were annoyed that they're bringing in these WWE guys to start winning these titles, and because that's part, and it was very off-putting to a lot of the roster. So as soon as Nemeth got his win over Tanahashi, he loses the title back to Finlay, and I think it might be exit stage left now, right?
I think so. Yeah, I think that's it for him in New Japan. And you know what? He was pretty good in this match. He was pretty good. I'll give him credit. He worked his ass off. Finlay worked his ass off in this match too. My issues with Finlay are never like his like. He's technically sound. I just find the guy fucking boring, and I don't believe him as a top guy at all. So it's like that's my big holdup with Finlay. But he was technically fine in this match, and this was okay. I think Finlay and Nemeth was better than I expected, and Moxley and Ren Narita, I mean, just constant House of Torture shit. So it's like, I don't know, man. What do you want from me?
Really, Moxley and Narita? Oh man, that's disappointing.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I know it's a House of Torture.
It also went 25 minutes and 18 seconds.
Yeah.
Why are there 2 matches on the show that went longer than that Noah main event?
If you could snap your fingers and make House of Torture go away, or if you could snap your fingers and make War Dogs go away, but you could only choose one, what would you do?
House of Torture.
I would do War Dogs. War Dogs are what prevents me. You know what War Dogs is for me? It's why I make New Japan the last of my priorities and then don't get to it in a busy week. They are so off-putting to me. I cannot stand it. It's go away heat.
I think with Noah coming back and I'm enjoying it, and All Japan I still like, and I'm kind of reinvesting in Dragongate a little bit. I think New Japan's on a when somebody recommends it to me basis these days. I think I'm launching that New Japan world, and when somebody tells me something good's on it, I'll watch it. But I don't enjoy it anymore. I don't feel anything when I watch it. I don't enjoy it. Why am I doing this to myself? So I'm out. I'm out for a little bit.
I feel like I got to go back and watch these matches, though, at least the business end.
I'm curious what you think of Shingo and Gabe Kidd. I'm curious.
Yeah.
Because I think in another life, and I think maybe in another week, I might even enjoy that match. But I think when I saw how good, Gabe, it's all so forced. You know what I mean? You'll see it. You'll see when you watch it.
He's got to dial it back. He comes off so inauthentic. It's forced with him. It's I don't know.
You'll love this. On the back of his he's got a ring jacket he comes out to the ring with, or I guess it's a cape or something like that, or whatever you want to call it. It says Madman on the back, just in case you didn't know he's mad. Joe, he's a madman. So subtlety ever stuff. In case you didn't know his gimmick is that he's a madman. He's now got it on the back of his tights. Yeah. Anyway.
Super Junior starts a couple days, right? 2 days.
Yeah.
I think there's a lot of. I think there's a lot of interesting outsiders. I mean, Ninja Mack, Hayata. He's not so interesting. But
Ninja Mack, tell me more about how interested you are in Hayata.
I'm blanking on who these outsiders are. Let me pull that up real quick.
Dragon Dia is the other one too.
Dragon Dia. Yeah.
Blake Christian, Hayata, Dragon Dia, Ninja Mack.
I thought there was more than that. Those are the 4.
Yeah. A block is Blake Christian, Bushi, Clark Connors, Desperado, Hayata, Kevin Knight, Kosei Fujita, Titan, TJP, Yoshinobu Kanemaru. B block is Dookie, Dragon Dia, Drilla Maloney, Francesco Akira, Hiromu, Kushida, Ninja Mack, Robbie Eagles, Sho, Taiji Ishimori. Not that interesting to me.
Yeah, I mean, am I going to be locked into every match? Probably not. Who is Hiromu facing on the final night?
I don't have the schedule.
30th or the 31st.
I don't have the schedule in front of me.
It should be on the chart.
Oh, I'm looking at the Wikipedia chart, not the New Japan chart.
Oh, all right. Well, I guess
you wanted the final night for.
Yeah, it's like give me the final night for Hiromu.
Who do you think? If you had 1,000 guesses, Joe, or how about one guess? Give me one guess of who Hiromu
I really
is.
don't know. That's why I'm asking.
Taiji Ishimori.
Oh my God!
Time is a flat circle. Fuck this company, man. I'm done.
The whole thing is gonna come down to that fucking.
I'm done. I can't do this anymore.
So who's Despy got in the other final night?
Hayata.
Oh my God! So they're gonna have Hayata in the mix. Well, they have to. He's the national champion.
Yeah.
That's it. They can't embarrass him, so he's got to be. So Hayata will make it to the end. Oh my God, Taiji Ishimori.
A first-time matchup, I believe. Taiji Ishimori and Hiromu Takahashi. Can't wait.
Oh fuck!
Can't wait, man. That's going to be exciting.
Fuck my life, man.
That's what I'm telling you, man. They're on a as recommended basis for a while now.
All right. Well, set us up for this MLW that you'll be going to.
ML Dub going this weekend. MLW as Tekalucha. You can watch live on Shriller TV Plus, powered by Fight, coming up on Saturday. MLW National Openweight title match. No, maybe not for this match. Ricky Shane Page versus Bad Dude Tito. Yeah. Hey, they can't all be good. Atlantis, Guerrero Maya Jr., Jesus Rodriguez versus Felino, Viano 3 Jr., and Virus. Matt Riddle versus
You're going to get
Josh...
to see a lot of guys for the first time.
Atlantis, first time ever. Guerrero Maya Jr., first time ever. Viano 3 Jr., first time ever. Virus, first time ever. Felino, I'm sure, first time ever. Matt Riddle versus Josh Bishop. Sounds kind of fun. I'm into that one. 4 more guys I know I've never seen before. Averno, Magnus versus Fuego and Star Jr. That sounds fucking awesome. Then Ultimo Guerrero versus Atlantis Jr. I know Ultimo's a little washed. I know, but it's my first time ever seeing Ultimo Guerrero. I'll be raising that fucking roof.
Yeah, that's the kind of match where you don't care if it's
no. I'll be raising that fucking roof. Everybody in Cicero Stadium better be raising that fucking roof
against
with me.
Against an old rival's son.
Yeah, that's great. That's good shit,
fun.
man.
It's a fun match.
And then MLW World Middleweight title match: Mystico versus Cavanario.
Yeah, if the working shoes are on, that'll be really good. And you blew right through Jesus Rodriguez. You get a little El Local. Remember El Local?
I do remember El Local, yeah.
He should wrestle as El Local.
He should.
What's he doing?
Show a little bit of fucking pride. Yeah, you're right. I forgot about El Local. Forgot about that.
Is that the YouTube or the pay-per-view?
That is the pay-per-view.
Okay.
The YouTube. Well, so it says be in. So here's the exact email I have from the world of MLW. First off, Sami Callihan's also on the show, which I don't love that, but you know, hey, you can't win them all.
Got a big announcement.
I'll Salvador Lutheroff will be there too if you want to. You can also get a picture in Dario Cueto's office. So it says be in sports card. So what does that mean? Be in sports card.
That's the YouTube portion.
Okay. But they call it be in sports card. Okay. That's
I think it still airs there.
Oh, okay. Janai Kai, Miyu Yamashita, Zeta, and God Queen Delmi Exo. Yeah.
4-way?
Yeah. Falls count anywhere with an exclamation point. Love it. Mads Cruel Kruger versus Matthew Justice, and then Bobby Fish versus Akira, also featuring Sami Callihan, Contra Unit, and Jay Christ. I'm going to be honest with you, Joe. I'm going to be honest with you. If that's being taped after Azteca Lucha, I might not have a live report for the YouTube show. I might.
No, I think it's taped before.
Okay. All right. No.
I think I saw Cubs fan tweeting about that.
I don't love that.
Bobby Fish is a good win for Akira. I assume they're going to keep pushing Akira.
I hope so.
Coming off the War Games win. Are they settling this tag team title?
I think it says on the end of the thing, it says Sami Callihan and more. So I don't know who and more is, but Sami Callihan is involved in the and more. So I don't know.
Weren't they doing Kojima and Okamura versus?
Yeah, what happened to that match? You're right. What happened to that match?
Is Kojima not coming in?
I don't know. It doesn't look like he's listed anymore. Fuck, you're right. Or is he just part of like the and more? Well, here, okay. So I found another email from a couple. When was this? 7 days ago, that lists Cozy Max versus Second Gear Crew.
Someone must not be coming in because they're supposed to. That's for the vacant tag titles.
Yeah, I wonder.
Supposed to be
because the most recent email I got from them was 14 hours ago. Oh no, it's back there. Okay, it's back. It's back. Cozy Max. Okay. There was one email I saw didn't have it in there. We're back. Cozy Max versus Second Gear Crew. We're in
for the vacant tag titles.
For the vacant MLW World Tag Team titles. Yep.
Have you ever seen Kojima?
Yeah, I saw him against Punk.
Oh, Mania Weekend. Yeah.
Well, at Mania Weekend, and I saw him against Punk at All Out.
Oh, yeah.
The one where he just elbowed him in the dick.
Have you ever seen Okamura?
Never seen Okamura. I can definitely. You know who I have seen? Sam McCallum a lot. I've seen him a lot, but no, I've never seen Okamura before. Believe it or not, first time for Okamura. Never seen. What did Kojima say in that promo? He I'll kill you, you bitch, or whatever it was. Remember there was that great line that he had?
Oh, it's a Punk. Oh fuck, what did he say?
It's so good. I forget what it was.
I'll
it was
kill you, you stupid idiot. Or...
right, it was like, whoa, hold on a minute, fella.
Hold on.
It's so good. I want to know. Someone's got to know. Noto Sharon, come on. You got to help me here.
Someone's got to remember.
I gotta pee. The show's ending. We're over time.
Yeah.
You guys love to let us know about stuff in real time. Oh, I love it. It's just a great because he's like, you just speak in Japanese, then you just get the translate at the bottom. I'll kill you, you bitch, or something like that.
I think it was I'll kill you, you stupid idiot. I think that's what it was. I can't
so
find
good.
It.
Oh man, it looks like a great show though. I'm excited. I can't find it either,
man. No one in
the
chat knows either.
Nobody, man, leaving us out to dry here. Anyway, yeah, I can't wait for that show.
It's gotta be the meme has to be on fucking Twitter.
I know, I can't find it. I can't find it right now. I'm pressed against the clock, so it's whatever. But no, I'm really excited to be at that show, and you're gonna get some sort of content. If you're on the Patreon, you're gonna get some sort of content either the next morning, driving back, something. We'll be there. I'll be there. They said I'm doing the press, so I don't know if they're going to give us a chance to talk to any of the wrestlers before or after. In my history of doing MLW press, not really. So probably not. But I will. I'll see what I can do.
Maybe you'll do some actual press work.
Yes,
if they allow you.
If they allow me to do it. Yeah. One time I did it, and they were like, "Well, you can just go up to the wrestlers." And this is why the guys were like practicing their matches. And you know what I would not recommend? Going up to a wrestler while they're practicing their match and then saying, "Hey, can you talk to me about, it'd be like," and think about who I would talk to. You know what I mean? So it's like we're gonna go up to Kojima in the middle of and the people they told me to go up to talk to, by the way, in the ring at that exact moment were Low-Key and Teddy Hart. You think I'm gonna go up to Low-Key and interrupt him as he's practicing a match and say, "Hey." Hey, Brandon.
Yeah.
Hey, Brandon, I got some questions for you.
Even better.
You know what I mean?
By the way, and you can end it on this. It was, "I'm going to kill you, you idiot."
That's so good. I'm going to kill you.
As he's doing his point.
Idiot. Yeah, with the point.
His point.
Yeah.
And then in the match, he elbowed him in the dick, if you remember.
Yeah,
off the
so
top
good.
rope. So he tried
so good.
Yeah.
Oh, man. I hope I can talk to Kojima. That's the guy I would seek out. I guess the Luchadors, too, but I'd really like to talk to Kojima at some point in my life. But all right, that is it for us. But yeah, you'll get some sort of content this weekend for Azteca Lucha. But make sure you watch that show on Saturday. It looks like it's gonna be a hell of a show. Sold out Cicero Stadium as well. Crowd should be should be a really, really fun show. So anyway, that is it for us. FlagshipPatreon.com. $1, $5, $10 tiers, free tier as well. Make sure you join, subscribe, get more content from us. VoicesOfWrestling.com for previews, reviews, and columns. VoicesOfWrestling.com/Discord. And if you are listening live, don't forget Mike and JD show, also available right now on the Voices of Wrestling YouTube channel. So close out of this window and go right back to that Voices of Wrestling YouTube channel and listen to the Mike and JD show. They just went live a couple of minutes ago. So anyway, that's it for us. That's Joe. I'm Rich. We'll talk to you next time. Take care. Bye.
My name is Tyler Fornes, and I am one of the co-hosts of the Good, the Bad, and the Hungy AEW podcast here on the Voice of Wrestling Podcasting Network. We take a broad scope approach to the world of All Elite Wrestling and the entire universe of Tony Khan. We talk about the big matches, the big stars, the promos, the storylines. And we also look at it from a big picture perspective. How are things going to change over the course of the next 10 years with AEW still in the picture? How are companies like WWE going to adapt and adjust to AEW? Are they going to be a similar way like they did with WCW in the late 1990s? Will there be a counterpunch? We talk about all of that and more on The Good, the Bad, and the Hungy every week on the Voices of Wrestling Network.